Radio. Whiskey Golf 2 Echo.
Yes, Whiskey Golf 2 Echo N1SAG.
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Very good. Yeah, I haven't heard you in here in a while. How you been?
Oh, I've been good. I just got home last night from a visit with my sister and my mom down in North Carolina and Florida.
Oh, very good, Carl. Well, how they do? I like Florida. I like North Carolina. Not sure. I've never really stayed in, only maybe a few days in North Carolina, but it was very nice. And yeah, well, so how was the trip? Over?
Oh, not bad. Not being tied to a job or anything. I could leave when I want, so I always chose the weather days. And the worst that happened is I got a rock hit my windshield, and I'm going to have to get a new windshield for the car.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, well, you got to expect bad things to happen. But as long as they're not real bad things. But how's the relatives? Over?
Oh, good. My sister and brother-in-law, they live in North Carolina near Asheville, maybe about an hour east of there. And my mom's in Florida, so I went down and I stayed with my sister there for a couple of days in North Carolina, and then we all drove down to my mom. She's down near Tampa, so we stayed down there a week and helped her out with some stuff. She's got a new car with the navigation and all the new stuff in it, so we got her kind of going with that, and we fixed her up with her first smartphone, so she's doing okay with that. Not bad for a lady at 92.
Yeah, 92, yeah. Well, that's, I think she's a couple years older than my mother, actually. So, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, no, my mother doesn't drive anymore. She had a minor fender bender, and we figured, well, that's enough of that. So, but yeah, no, hey, you only get one mother, so God bless her, and God bless them all. And yeah, you just gotta, But yeah, well, at least you got to get down and see everybody. That's always important. Here, well, all our relatives we got relatives in Florida. We got relatives they'll soon be in South Carolina, and relatives in California. We're spread out all over the country. I can't remember, but and sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. But it's always nice to see relatives. N1SAG.
Yeah, WG2E. Well, yeah, I got another sister that's out in Seattle, so we pretty much got most of the corners of the country figured out. And I've been out to see her there once. My mom and I went out there a couple of years ago, and it was really nice. We went and checked out Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier, and went over to Bainbridge Island on the ferry. It's a nice town, but it's certainly not cheap to live there.
Yeah. Well, East Coast, West Coast, it's not cheap to live where I am either. I mean, the taxes keep going up, and it's just unbelievable. The price of gas went up again, food went up again, everything, even drink, whiskey, beer, everything went up. So, and nothing went down yet. So we're waiting for that. Well, we're going to hold our breath though. N1SAG.
Yeah, well, I was glad to come home and find that nothing bad happened here. No leaks or anything. I do have cameras, here in the house that I can access from anywhere, and I was, I don't know, sometime last week, about a week ago, there was snow on the ground up here. And driving around today, I could still see little bits of snow in some of the places where the sun doesn't shine, and where it drifted up pretty good. So, I usually got to wait till May before it really gets really nice here. I'm up at 1,300 feet, so I'm usually a lot colder than everybody else.
Roger, same here. That we don't. I was out today. It was warm. The sun was out for a while. It was warm. I got the tractor out. I mulched some leaves and put the roller on the back of the tractor and rolled the lawn down to get the lumps and bumps back down a little more even. And then it was nice and warm. And then all of a sudden the sky got dark. And it got cold again, so this time of year, like you say, we wait until May just as well, N1SAG.
Yeah, well, I've had the snow here covering the grass on Mother's Day, and that's, the second weekend of May?
Oh, yeah, I can remember doing snow removal in May years ago. I think it was back in 75 we had a May snowstorm here, busted all the branches. The trees already had leaves on them, some of them, and some branches got heavy. They were all banged, busted over into the roadways and driveways and such, and, made a big mess. But every once in a while, yeah, we'll get a quick, a little surprise snowstorm in the early and late spring. You never know. But, we got our fingers crossed here. It's been so cold for so long, and this morning it was 30 degrees here, so never got much over 40. It might have hit 45 here today, over.
Yeah, that's probably the same here. The sun felt good, but it wasn't, really much in the air temperature. So how the bands and things been? I haven't been on, I don't know, a couple weeks or 2 weeks in a day, something like that. I did manage to listen to you guys a couple nights on an SDR on the internet, and I heard Ray and Mark there. I don't know. I guess there's some new plans for the N1 DVL special.
Yeah, well, but there's always something new with that. So we, it just it's good entertainment, over.
Yeah, well, it was kind of nice to hear all your voices. There was an SDR somewhere in Pennsylvania, and I had that going, and actually it was really good. I could hear everybody really well. But, I was with my mom or I was with my sister, and they didn't find it much, too interesting, but it was a little bit of home for me.
Roger, yeah. Well, Mike had just gotten back from Israel, I don't know, last weekend, Monday, or I forgot what night. But anyway, he was on the air giving a synopsis of his travels and experiences to and from and while in Israel. So that was interesting. But I don't know if you caught any of that, over.
Oh, no, I would have liked to. I know he had some posts on Facebook with some pictures and stuff, the Tomb of the Prophets and all these things. And that must be pretty cool, walking in some of those places where a couple thousand years ago, all the prophets walked and all that stuff.
Roger, yeah, he said he had an enjoyable day with at the Wailing Wall. He said it was quite an experience. So, yeah, it's old world. I mean, when we went to Italy, it was old world to me. I mean, I never saw anything like it. So, it was a huge experience, and I'll never, in my lifetime, I think out of all of Italy, we had 4 different destinations there. Traveled by train and air and everything, but my favorite spot was Mount Vesuvius. Getting to the top of that was a lot of fun, over.
Oh, yeah. Well, is that still erupting?
Well, when we got up there, we had a guide. He was a volcanologist. He went to school there in some college in Italy, in Naples, I believe, and he had a backpack on, and I thought in his backpack might have been survival gear, but it was all books and study books and notes, and any question you asked him, out would come the books, and he would tell you what's going on, show you the book, and it was all in English, so it was a good time. I mean, got to the top in our trip. We had scheduled a lunch at the top of the mountain. There's a little hut, and they make sandwiches. They have wine and champagne and cheese and salami. I'll tell you, it was the best meal I think I had in my lifetime up there. Real nice people. I think there was one chef and 3 or 4 helpers up there, and very, very good time. It was scheduled in the trip, so it was nice though to have lunch and we went back down the mountain. But yeah, we could smell the sulfurs and see the steam coming out of the side of the hill there as we walked down the trail. And my wife took a picture of it, but it's hard to see the steam in the picture. It was even hard in person, but I mean, the wind was right on the way down. You could definitely smell. And yeah, the guide said it's the most dangerous volcano in the world because they know it's going to blow, and there's like 100,000 people apparently that have to be evacuated. And they monitor it through satellites, and they've got all kinds of radio gear on top of there to communicate with satellites and different places around the area as well to receive the data. So they're on it. I mean, they keep watching that thing day and night. But very dangerous volcano. Last time it did its thing was during World War II in the 40s. And the Army Corps of Engineers stemmed the flow of lava and this and that. And that was just a lava flow eruption. And they're saying that this time it's going to build pressure like the Pompeii eruption. So could be the Big Bang that just like Pompeii. So you never know, I guess, then when I say G.
And who's the dummy that was sitting up there having lunch?
Well, it wasn't just me. There was like 100 people up and down that hill, that we passed on our way up and on our way down.
Hey, you wouldn't catch me up there. Anyway, go ahead. I don't know who you're talking to. I'm waiting for my 3-minute amp to warm up. I'm one DVO.
Hey, Ray, it's Carl, WG2E. Just got back from down south yesterday and was missing all you guys.
Where's your good radio, Carl?
Well, the tracking number says it should be here tomorrow.
Well, I would certainly hope so.
Well, it's been done since last week, but I didn't want to ship them. I didn't want to have them ship it till I was back here, because you got to sign for it.
Yeah, no, I understand. Okay, well, okay, very good. Well, go ahead. You pick it up, and I'm still waiting for the amp to come up, like put my big amp back on.
Okay, you won't be needing to heat in the shack much longer. Yeah, that volcano stuff is pretty cool, Dave. Mount St. Helens still had wisps of steam coming out of it when I was there, and they had a big historical movie about the thing, and it really amazed me how it just scoured everything, just all the trees and everything, and that was 30-some years ago or something. Early 80s, I think it was. And all the trees they replanted right after it are all grown up and they're all like ready to be harvested again.
Where's this?
Mount St. Helens.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I saw pictures of that on TV. I'm not sure, Science Channel or one of those. The history of that since the eruption is unbelievable. Over.
Yeah, and we drove right up along the river there, and there was an observation place, I forget what it was called, but you could look right over there with binoculars and look sort of right into that side of the mountain where they showed a side of the mountain blowing off. You can just see that big hole there, and you really don't realize how immense it is till you're looking at it firsthand. Seeing it on TV doesn't do it justice at all.
Roger. Yeah, that fellow manned that observation post died in that too, along with multiple others that unfortunately got caught up in that. But yeah, that's Mother Nature at its volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes. I mean, you get some bad stuff out of Mother Nature.
Yeah, a lot of them were warned too. Get out, get out, get out, and they didn't listen.
Yeah, there was that one guy that had his house somewhere, and he just refused to leave, and he just got buried in ash. It's gone.
Yeah, buried in what, 100 feet, 200 feet?
I got to go up and look at the soup.
Yummy.
So anyway, is Bob in here? Bob, are you out here?
You mean KT2D? He was on. I heard him talking to Dave there about half an hour ago. He said something about having to go to a net at 7 o'clock, so he's probably around, but not on the frequency. And I was listening to you guys a couple nights on an SDR on my computer when I was away. Sounds like you got some kind of new version of the N1DVL special happening?
Yeah, I'm trying to get Randy to put it up. Is that you, Bob? Okay. Are you running your amp right now?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, your signal's not very big. Okay. When did your tuner come in today?
No, it's due midday tomorrow.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, you got to get working on that antenna right away. Get that bow and arrow out. Get that antenna up over the trees. It'll take 2 seconds to hook that up. That's you got to get that going. I know it's going to work a lot better for you. Okay, so anyway, Carl, Bob, me, and what's his name out there? Dave. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. I'm just listening.
Hello, neighbor Bob. Sounds like we're both waiting for the UPS guy tomorrow. Welcome back, Carl. Good to hear you. Boba signal always. Yeah, I got a few packages coming tomorrow. So, you guys have energized me to make the rig 160 compatible. The other thing I did was because Randy last night was talking about the QRZ page, so I took a picture of the face of my FT 1000 MP with 1930 on the readout and posted that on my QRZ page. So shipping away at all the stuff to make sure the world famous Toad Harbor net is adequately represented there. Over. Yeah, I believe I ought to do the same thing. I've been meaning to get my page a little bit better. So what do you got, a new tuner coming? Yeah. My RM consultant convinced me to get a BT 1500, a balanced feedline tuner. Okay, yeah. Well, you can always trust the Toad Harbor people to get us on the straight and narrow. I started out with my P-weak signal, and I followed the instructions, and here I am. Yep, I've been listening and weighing it all, and it's all good. So if I can, kind of like an intellectual Robin Hood, I steal from the witty and the smart, and if it saves me a lot of experimentation and failure, I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, and that's the whole secret right there. Saves you a lot of time. Hang on, I got a phone call on N1DVL.
Yeah, well, I didn't try anything myself here that was iffy or known not to work. I kind of stuck with the tried and true proven technology, WG2E. I got cameras up here at the house, and I noticed it snowed here. I had snow on the ground for a couple days last week. Yeah, we had, I'm trying to think, it might have been Saturday or Friday last week. It was one day, it was Saturday morning. At my house we got about an inch, and then by the afternoon it was gone. But I think was it Friday night? Might have been Friday night. It was a day I know, because I ended up taking a nap, and I woke up at 2 o'clock and everything was white. Then that night Ray came in, and he was not happy. Oh, I didn't care too much. I was, when I was in North Carolina, it might have been hitting low 70s during the day, and we had a couple of high 80s when I was down in Florida, so it was pretty nice. It wasn't real humid, so it wasn't terribly uncomfortable. we went out bird watching and hiking around and looking at stuff. But most of the time we were helping my mom. She's got a new car, so we helped her with some of those things, and we fixed her up with all new phones in her apartment, and she got a smartphone now, so we've probably created a nightmare for ourselves.
And 3 or more.
Hey there, how are you, Mark? Yep, you probably did. You probably did. But we'll see how that works out. We'll have to get an update from you, Carl. Hello, Mark.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hello, Mark. Hey, twice I went over to Susquehanna River on Interstate 81. Then I blew the horn both times. I'm sure you heard it.
No, I didn't, because that's the wrong bridge. It's not close to me.
Well, I don't know. I was thinking of you every time I went over the river.
Wow, I've been thought of by somebody that really doesn't know me.
Well, I kind of know you. Let me think here. Of all the people that I got pages and pages of calls from the Toad Harbor net, and I've probably met 20 people of them.
Yeah, but you never met me.
Oh, well, how about in June? Are you coming up?
That's a different story.
Well, I think you oughta.
It's starting to feel cold again around here. I don't like it.
Cold?
Yeah, there's a chill in the air. It's a damp chill in the air.
Oh, yeah, the feeling of impending doom.
Oh, baby, I love impending doom. Nobody does doom good anymore.
I don't know. I used to have work days like that. I'd be driving to work, and it's like, uh-oh, something's gonna happen.
Society's basically been doomed out. All these disaster movies, all these horror movies, all these terrible tragic wars and things that have happened in mankind in the past 100 years. There's just so little room for good doom anymore.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Well, anyway, I know you were near Harrisburg somewhere, and I didn't know where the airport was, so I just figured I'd give you a token honk when I went over the river by that bridge there. It looks like it's a Roman ruin.
Yeah, you needed to be on the bridge that was way down south of the river from where you were, 7 more bridges. That would be the Turnpike Bridge, and I'm close to that one by 1 air mile away from it. You were way up at the northern end of Harrisburg, right before the mountains, and that's the Route 81 bridge.
Oh, okay. Well, geez, I don't think I've been on that part of the Pennsylvania Turnpike since I was a little kid, probably back in the 60s sometime.
Oh, you should see the new Turnpike Bridge. It's really something to see now. They got rid of that old derelict, took it down, and they replaced it with a new one that's believe it or not, it is a suspension bridge, but it doesn't look like one. It's an Italian design.
Do they still have all those tunnels on the Turnpike? I seem to remember there was like 7 tunnels, and I remember going through them when I was a kid. They had like blue lights in them.
Yep, those lights are yellow, if I'm not mistaken, unless they have changed them. Maybe back in the day they were blue, but they're now yellow. And yeah, those tunnels are still going through the mountains. See, the Turnpike was actually built on an old railway line that went from east to west across the state. That's why it meanders and it curves very slowly the way that it does, because it was actually built right over a railroad track.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Well, I grew up in western Pennsylvania. I lived in Pittsburgh for some years, or outside of Pittsburgh, and in Beaver Falls, near the Ohio border.
Are you getting a lot of background noise on me here?
Well, it's something that's been going on for about the last hour. It's like somebody's got a really loud fan or something in their shack, and they're just keying the mic. So I wouldn't worry about it. It's certainly not affecting you at all.
No, I know who that is. That's a goon. Let me hold on a second here and drop that mic gain a little bit more. We're way too hot. Audio. That's a little better.
Hey, I was listening to you guys on SDRs when I was away on vacation. Am I to assume that you are no longer the Man of Steel?
Look at the signal. You tell me.
Well, I got attenuation on here, but you're just a little bit over 9.
Yeah, the band isn't even warmed up yet. We're still in daylight, considerably so. So, yeah, give me another hour and then get back to me with what you see on my signal, and yeah, I think you'll get your answer.
Okay, anyway, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Talked him out of the steel, did you, Ray?
Yeah, I talked him out of it. As soon as he put up the new antenna, he gained 10 dB all the way around the circle. Then he saw the light. You know what the light is? Let me pray to the God. Let me pray to the true and only one God, N1DVL God.
Easy, Ray. Easy. Somebody did that down in Waco, Texas, and it didn't work out well for him.
Oh, that was just dumb. He was just dumb. It wasn't, you know, that whole thing in Waco, Texas wasn't his fault. It was the fault of the feds.
I don't care whose fault it was. It didn't end well for him.
No, that's true. But, well, he kind of figured it wasn't going to end well, I would think, after the big shootout. But, hey, he did pretty good.
Yeah, you don't need to think of the Kennedy curse, Ray. You don't want to. You're up there. I'll give it. You're kind of up there, but you're not that far up there.
How about, do I sit at the right hand of God?
Oh my.
Not even there, huh?
No.
Okay. Well, I guess I have an overinflated, I think of myself in an overinflated position.
Ray, you better disconnect your antenna. I think a lightning bolt is on the way.
Humility. Just a little bit of humility.
Okay. I'll try.
Hey, Ray, how's the house and car? Are you still working on that, or are they done?
Well, I signed about 90 papers today. The house should be gone at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yes. Now, are you going to get paid?
And then the car, I still have the car, but the car is just beautiful. What a beautiful car.
Still got the BMW?
Well, get the top down and then bring it to the party in June.
Hey, that's a good idea if I still have it. That's a great idea. We'll cruise with the top down and come.
And you need to put a big high Q antenna on the back trunk lid.
Are you crazy? That car's beautiful. I wouldn't put anything on it. It really, you should see it. It's just an incredible condition. It's like a brand new car. It really is. I wouldn't do anything with that. I don't like those cars that much, but it's beautiful. For somebody who wants one, it's just a beauty.
Is this the Z3 W2MUR?
Yep, Z3, perfect condition. I waxed it with turtle wax, and then I went over it with Johnson's Paste Wax, and man, it looks good.
Oh, I can imagine. So your house is gone tomorrow at 9 o'clock?
Supposedly, yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's got to be a burden off your shoulders.
Yeah, that's 99% of it right there. The car's nothing. So, yeah, that'll be great, and then I'll be rich.
Hey, Mike, nice pictures on Facebook. Sounds like you had a good time over there. WG2E.
Let me think. I think I'm gonna buy Mark a new radio. Let me look through the book here. I'm looking at that last QST I got. They got a couple of. I know what I'm gonna get you, Mark. I saw the exact radio you need.
Come on.
It's a, oh God, what's the name of it? It's a Polycom 6.
Hey, you going to turn your amp on tonight, Ray, or are you just going to be a weekie all night?
No, I'm running the amp. Hello. I'm running big power.
You
Probably 1,400 watts.
Yeah, you're 40 over here. Hey, Carl.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, I kicked it up a little more. Hello, hello. Yep, that's a solid 1,500.
35 to 40, that's normal.
Yep, band isn't quite longed out enough yet.
So if anybody's got a Polycom 6, let me know.
What is a
Polycom
Polycon 6? That's what I want to know.
No,
What
not
is a
con,
Polycom
not
6?
con, like a jail guy. Commutator. Polycom 6. Polycom was a company that made CB radios back in the 60s, and they actually made a very nice radio. And I didn't know this, but in this last QST, they showed a Polycom 6, which is a 6-meter Polycom that was made. You know, it's a real collector's item.
Well, the reason I say Polycon is because I would have to be conned to buy one.
That's for sure. Yep, I agree. Hey, listen, it appears there's a bunch of guys in here like that old junk. They got piles of that old junk hanging around, and for some crazy reason beyond me, they like it.
You know, so I look at QRZ and QTH for, equipment that's for sale. But when I go to Facebook and some of these ham sites that they quote-unquote ham sites that they have amateur radio equipment for sale, and a lot of it's just stuff I've never heard of, so it's got to be CB stuff. And I've heard 3 scams on Facebook. I wouldn't buy a piece of equipment on Facebook if that was the last thing going. If they had a PW1 for $1,000 that got up around for $3,000, I wouldn't do it if it was the last ad on Earth.
Yeah, no, hey, the whole world's crooked. And besides, who the hell would buy one of those piles? You know, the amp you got's a good amp. Just if you ever decide to go insane, buy another one and buy. He'll get. I have it on good authority. He'll give you the what do you call it? The thing to hook them together.
Did Randy get his new Yaesu yet?
No, Randy's not stupid. What are you, crazy? I think anybody who buys that new Yaesu's nuts. But hey, half these guys, they own a Yaesu, so they want to own one for the rest of their life.
Plus, Bramley go nuts.
Well, I wouldn't even think of buying that Yaesu until I see it tested by Sherwood.
Your 890 still working? Nothing bad happened to it while I was gone.
No, the 890 is just a magnificent radio. It's just simply the best radio there is.
Sounded good, Ray.
So, what was it like cruising on the Sea of Galilee?
It was awesome, man. It was like, I hate to use the word surreal, but it was surreal.
Yeah, and you were in places where, like, Jesus walked, and you could touch the very stones and stuff. That must have been pretty cool.
It was crazy, man. I'm telling you, man. That's where he started his life right there. But it's funny. I went up and down the shores, and I see all these gigantic catfish, like hundreds of them, like in the shallows. And I would make believe I could walk on water, so I'd kind of step in the water, see what would happen, and all these fish would just scatter. It just was awesome. All these fish, there was like hundreds of them. These catfish are very, very popular, and you'll see them in the markets and stuff. And I just, I couldn't believe how many catfish there were. I mean, it's got to be good fishing still, even. And you don't see any big motorboats. I did see a jet ski one time, but I'm not so sure they allow, motorboats on the. I was in motorboats, but they went very slow. So everything's kind of very slow, very calm.
Is that saltwater or freshwater?
Freshwater.
The Sea of Galilee is freshwater?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Dead Sea, which I had no interest in going to, because that's like the big tourist thing.
Yeah, but you can float in it. You float real high because there's so much salt in the water. Probably be good for you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do it next time, but I just had no desire to do kind of the touristy things,
I just can't believe you went over there all by yourself like that. What? Come on, tell me the truth. Whatever possessed you to do that?
I can't say.
Did you work any DX while you were over there?
I worked some really beautiful DX. She was awesome.
I knew it was over a girl.
No, I'm only teasing. No DX, no beautiful DX. I saw a couple girls that looked at me in Tel Aviv, but and I talked to some girls at a couple of restaurants, but it was just all flirty stuff. Nothing that came to anything. No Jewish girls that I brought home.
Did you find Ziva?
Ziva? No. I got to go back there to find her.
Is she like Emily?
Oh, no way. Emily's 100 times better looking than Ziva.
So Gal Gadot. So Gal Gadot is my favorite actress, and she's from Israel.
Yeah, I saw a picture of her, but the girl in them was better looking than all of them. Hands down. That girl in Northampton was probably the best looking woman I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Well, I didn't mean looks. I just meant meeting them under the same kind of circumstances.
So don't tell me that this girl at in Hampton was better looking than Gal Gadot. She was like Miss Israel, right? But she's a little tall for me. I'm 5'8". She's like almost 6 foot. So she'd be a little tall for me.
I saw a picture of her, and she's not bad looking, but the girl in Northampton was definitely better looking. I've never seen anybody as pretty as that girl in Northampton.
You're crazy. Gal Gadot? Really?
I'm telling you, this girl, I wish we had. I asked her for a picture. She wouldn't let us take a picture, but I'm telling you, listen, I'm an old guy, and I have never seen a woman that beautiful in my life. She was incredible.
Okay, so tell me, why did she want you to take a picture?
I don't know. She didn't know us. We could take a picture and put it on the internet or something. You know, she didn't know us. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to still look for her, and if I run into her, I'll bring her to the Toad Harbor picnic.
In the convertible.
Yeah, in the convertible.
Hey, you know what I saw today?
What?
I saw so when I was in the Air Force, I had a 1973 Triumph Spitfire that I restored. It was beautiful. And I saw on Facebook a 1970, I'm trying to remember, 78. And it was the last year they made a Spitfire for $3,000, and then I was going to go over to Herkimer, just a few miles away from me, and they had already sold it, so I was really disappointed. The thing was in beautiful condition, just mint condition.
It's hard to believe a car that old around this year, unless they never ever once drove it in the winter.
No, they had to put it in the garage every year. This guy was moving. I can't believe he was only asking $3,000 for it. I mean, the thing was not a mark on the interior from the picture, at least. And it was all white, which I didn't like. I like a darker color. You know, mine was Mallard green. I restored this thing, Ray. I took the engine out. I had it acid bathed. I had it all the cylinders. I think there were 30 thousandths over. I chrome plated the oil, the valve cover, and the time and chain cover. I painted the block Corvette red. Had all new U joints put in, all new carpeting put in, new paint job, luggage rack, new exhaust, new carburetors. I put so much money into this thing.
Well, where is it?
That was the one regret I have in my life. I left it down in North Carolina after I got out of the military. I sold it. And the guy who sold it to, I made money on it, but he totaled it. He totaled it in about a month, and I was just devastated when I heard it.
Steve there, the electric X-ray beam, he used to have a Triumph. I think it was a TR6, maybe a 74. That was convertible, and it had the hard top you could put on and off it. That thing was pretty cool, but he crashed and burned it.
The TR6 was a beautiful, beautiful car. Actually, I took the dashboard from the TR6 and put it in my Spitfire. I mean, what I did with the Spitfire, I ended up adding another 50 horsepower to it. It was a pretty fast car.
Yeah, his Steve's had a 6-cylinder in it, 2 carburetors there. That thing was pretty quick.
Yeah, remember the GT6?
Those things were a death trap.
Yeah, ask Steve.
I mean, remember J.C. Whitney?
Oh, yeah. I
remember the good old J.C. Whitney catalog.
I mean, that catalog had every part for that car. It was unbelievable. That was back in 1978. I mean, can you imagine now? That's why when I looked at that car for $3,000, I mean, man, that thing. I'm gonna call the guy tomorrow, see if he had like 2 or 3 buyers that wanted to buy that thing. So if it all fall through, I'm gonna actually try to see if I can go over there tomorrow. I don't know though. Yeah, I'm kind of leery about buying something like that because I still want to get those IQ antennas first, and get them on my vehicle.
Yeah, radio comes first.
I do so much driving.
Well, I did quite 800 miles yesterday, and I was by myself, so it would have been nice to have the radio in the car. Although I got plenty of good tunes, so that was okay. And then when I was driving to and from Florida, from North Carolina, I had my sister and brother-in-law with me, so that was conversation there.
Hey, you saw Emily. Who would you rather have, the high-Q antenna or Emily?
Well, I don't know what Emily looks like, so I don't know.
No, Carl, did you see Emily?
Yeah. I came down to the end of the bar and I tapped you on the elbow. You were talking to her, and I said, "Hey, we got to go back. We got our dinner at 6:30 or something." And you gave me get lost look.
So was Emily good looking, Carl?
Yeah. I would say she was, cover girl material.
Wow, well, cover girl. That's pretty okay. So we got confirmation there.
Hey, look, one of my favorite girls on the Hallmark Channel, Erin Krakow.
Yeah.
Emily's better looking than her. I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating at all, Mike. Not at all. This is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. And certainly, like I told her, I said, "You are the most beautiful girl I have ever seen in person, period." But she probably was just about the most beautiful girl I had ever seen, because I think that Erin Krakow is really, really good looking. And there's another girl on there that I like that's really, really pretty from the Hallmark Channel. And this girl was better looking than both of them. And she was perfect. The hair was perfect. The clothes were perfect. Her skin, makeup, everything. There wasn't one hair out of place. She was just perfect. There was a lot more to this girl than we know. You know what I mean? This girl was just incredible.
Well,
did one of those Hallmark girls just get in trouble with that college thing there that was in the news a couple weeks back?
Yep, that's her. She screwed, man. She got screwed. They offered her a deal. She didn't take it. Now she's all worked up because now she knows she's going to jail.
Oh, that's too bad.
No, she's stupid.
Yeah, she is stupid, and she should go to jail. Good evening, everybody. KB2ZVP.
Randy.
Hello, Randy. WG2E.
Randy, how you doing?
Randy.
Hey, Michael. Good evening, Carl. Good to hear you on the radio.
I missed being on the radio.
I would imagine you must. I know I certainly would have if I was gone that long.
Oh, my God. No kidding.
So, Randy. Yes, Miggy.
So think about it. Okay, so Ray is down there at the end. You were there, okay? So you were pulling him away from Emily. So I want to understand, okay, Ray's been talking to her. Why wouldn't Emily let him take a picture of her? You know, because I've met a lot of, you know, younger women, a little older women. You know, you get talking to them. They don't care if you take a picture of them. You know, what did she have to hide? I think she was trying to be off the grid.
Oh, some creepy old guy asked to take her picture. That's what happened.
Yeah, she's a working girl, Mike. They don't want to have photos taken of them. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know what you mean, because I don't know how they think, but you know, most of the women the girls that I've met, you know, they don't care if I take a picture of them, you know. It's not like, okay, so what's the worst I can do? Make a poster of them, put them in my bedroom? Who cares?
Yeah, no, she didn't want that at all. There's something up with her. She's just, you know, whatever. There's something the matter there. Something a little bit left of center, you know. But she was very interested in Ray. I have to say, she was very interested in Ray, especially when he took out his wallet to pay for that drink, and he had about $1,500 in $100 bills in there.
3,000.
All I got to say is, Ray sells his house tomorrow. The last thing he wants to do is go to...
Yeah, no kidding.
Why, you think Emily'd get it all?
I think she'd get at least half.
So I went to Alpena, Michigan to school, and I had this guy with me, Walt Veely. I had $10,000 in cash on me. I said, here, take $5,000 in case something happens to either one of us. We'll at least have $5,000 bucks. The next day, I can't get him up out of bed. I call him. I can't get him to answer the telephone. So now I'm concerned. I go to class. I call the school. I call the hotel. And they break into his room because I was afraid. He called me in the middle of the night, out of his gourd, drunk, talking about this girl at the bar. It reminds me of her, talking about this. She was so beautiful, and she's with this old, bald, fat guy, and she wouldn't come with me, and I offered her all $5,000 to come with me, but she still wouldn't come with me. What's the matter with me? And he's drunk, and he's crying, and he's going bananas, right? So I said, where's the money? Where's the money? I have it here. I said, well, you hang on to it. So the next morning, I couldn't wake him up, so I called the hotel to break in the room. I thought maybe he threw up and he died, or he killed himself or something overnight. But I got my money back the next day.
Oh my gosh! I didn't think that story was going to end like that.
Oh, he was hammered, and he was crying, and this Emily girl wouldn't go with him.
Oh my God! You know, I can always sense in about 5 minutes if a woman's just trying to look for my money or if she has a sincere desire to talk.
Actually, I've had better luck when we just talk about it. Hello, fellas.
Yeah, now you're talking. Just let him give him the money and get what you want. Randy, what's the name of my girlfriend there on the Hallmark Channel that's in trouble with the feds? I wrote her name down and I can't find the paper.
Wasn't it Laura something? Lauren Lohan? I don't know. I don't pay attention to her. She's in big trouble, though.
Yeah, Lori something or other. Yeah, what an idiot she is. They gave the whole story today, allegedly from one of her friends, that she, they offered her a deal, and they offered her 2 years in jail, which she would have had to serve 85%, so like a year and something. And she thought no way, and she said no, and the girl said she was just her friend, allegedly, now who knows if it's a true story or not, but allegedly the people who know her said that she was very arrogant, and she said there's no way they'd ever put somebody like me in jail. I'm too important, and they're just trying to threaten me, and now she's going to end up going to jail for probably 4 to 6 years.
I can't believe that. I can't believe they'd even send somebody to jail for that. They just put them on probation.
Well, no, it's Monday. It's a federal offense. No, she's going, and that's good. I mean, I'm happy. You think about the fact that she took the thing you got to think about is the kids that didn't get on that crew team, the athletes that had worked their whole life trying to get on the crew team, couldn't get there because this overprivileged, young girl took the place of that person that worked their tail off to be on a crew team. So I hope they sue the hell out of them. I also know that whatever the department is that does this kind of thing has opened up an investigation against 8 colleges. They want to find out what's going on deep into the colleges. So there's a lot going on there. I think the colleges are going to be in big trouble as well.
I
don't disagree at all.
And supposedly her husband basically wants a divorce because he's just so fed up with the way, because he's involved in it too.
Women
and he wanted to take the deal and everything, and she said, no, I'm never going to take it. I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I guess
preempt everybody.
He's even fed up with her, at least if you believe the story.
It's disgusting, but when you think about all the people that go to prison and how overpopulated every prison is and what they go to prison for, you would think that she'd be able to cut a deal,
No, I think she should go to prison and show all the other people that do this kind of crap that they can go to prison too. And if the prisons are overpopulated, just build more prisons. And if you want to build we have a special package for your prison. KB2ZVP from Barnes & Cone.
Easy to make.
Are there special blocks for prisons?
Yes, there are. We call them Y blocks because they build these things like honeycombs, and that way there one guard can watch multiple cells at the same time. So yeah, as a matter of fact, there is. I've built 3 prisons so far.
Hey, Carl.
Yes.
So what are you talking? What's your situation today? What are you talking on?
The 746, and the UPS tracking says my 7610 should be here tomorrow.
Oh, so I was away and I missed that.
KC3, KXP.
Hey, Randy, check out my QRZ page when you get a chance.
Hey, Tom.
Howdy.
Hi, Tom.
Yeah, so I knew, Carl, you were doing something different.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you've been gone. Yeah, I said before I left for vacation, I sent the 7610 in, and I called him up and told him not to send it back till I told him when. So last week they said it was all fixed up, and I talked to Matt on Tuesday and told him to ship it out yesterday, so it should be here tomorrow.
It sounded like you were like running mobile with an IQ or something.
Did he tell you what was wrong with it?
He said they replaced the screen and fixed the preamp.
Yeah, and now is the preamp going to break again, or it won't break now?
Well, I sure hope not.
They usually source a transistor twice as good.
Well, when I talked to him before I sent it, I talked to him about that, and he said that it was a missed solder joint on many of the boards. So that's, what I had heard. I've heard several stories, but that's what he said to me.
And is that the same thing with the screen as well? They just didn't solder it properly?
No, it's I guess the manufacturing the screen was bad or something. But he said he put a new one on, and when I was first arranging for it, he says, "Yeah, get it here pretty quick." He says, "I'm almost out of screens," and I saw something on the 7610 page on Facebook today about they're out of screens now.
Oh my gosh.
Gee, you mean to tell me that they only had 3 or 4 screens? Because that's all the radios that went bad.
Yeah, it must have been.
Hey, W2MUR on the 20.
WG2E.
And 1 DVL.
KC3, KXP.
KT2D.
What was that?
That's just some weird QRM.
Hey, Bob, what are you running now? You're running a tuner with a piece of coax and a balun on it?
Just for a brief moment today, some weird things going on in the atmosphere today.
Bob?
Yeah, so what I got is I'm just going straight through the tuna because the vertical I got a capacitor on it that I nulled out all of the reactants, and so I come off the vertical, I go through a capacitor, and then a one-to-one basically a choke there, and then coax right into, it goes right through the tuna into the amp.
Yeah, okay.
So that's for the vertical. For the 80-meter loop, I come down with ladder line. Right now I have a 12-to-1 balun, and then coax to the tuner.
Yeah, okay. Well, when you get the new tuner, are you going to be able to get the new antenna up in a reasonable period of time?
I don't think so. I don't think this week I'll be able to do it, but we'll see. So it'll probably be a while. You know, I'll run the 80-meter loop with it, and then we'll see how it goes as soon as I can get the other one up. I'm going to be out of town starting Tuesday for about a week and a half, so it'll probably be toward the end of April that I can get it up. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes this weekend.
Okay. Okay, well, don't do anything without asking first. Okay, N1 DBL.
Nope, I have my instructions. Oh, break.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is K1 Juliet Echo Bravo, Kilo 1 Juliet Echo Bravo in Littleton, Mass. I haven't been on 160 in a long time because I had a 160-meter dipole and it wasn't doing well. So I took half of the dipole and made it into inverted L. And today I just put on a folded counterpoise on the ground. I'm trying to see if it's working.
Yeah, well, this is Carl, Whiskey Golf 2 Echo. I'm near Schenectady, New York. You're just over S9 here. What's the name?
Oh, the handle here is John, John, and I'm using an IC765 barefoot, 100 watts.
Okay, John, yeah, you're not doing bad for 100. Like I said, just over 9.
Okay, where are you in New York?
I'm a bit west of Schenectady.
So you're my first contact on 160 in months. But anyway, is there anybody else that's further away?
Ray, you hearing him?
Yeah, I'm hearing him. I'm just doing something. Littleton. I'm looking up Littleton.
Yeah, I'm 40 miles west of Boston. About 20 minutes from the New Hampshire border.
It's near let's see, Topsfield and Linfield, probably.
No, it's near Concord, Harvard, Acton, Westford, that area. It's 495 and Route 2 intersection.
Oh yeah, Concord and Acton. Yep, that area. Gotcha.
Well, there's a couple of guys on that are from the middle part of New York. I don't know if they can hear you okay.
Yeah, I got you pretty good.
Maybe when Randy gets back, you give him a nice report. And let me see, who else was out there? I don't remember. Mike? Was Mike in earlier?
Yep, I'm here. I got you pretty well. W2MUR here in Holland Pat, New York, just north of Utica, New York.
Yeah, I can hear you very well, Mike. W2MDR, Kilo 1, Juliet Echo Bravo. Back.
Very good. Yeah, you're just it's kind of quiet tonight. You're like a 5'8" here into central New York.
Roger, pretty good. It's doing pretty good. But I don't have a linear amplifier, but it doesn't do 160 meters. I was thinking of modifying my SB200 for 160.
Oh, forget that. That would be tough.
Well, the other amplifier is the Drake L4.
Yeah, trade it for an L7.
The L7 has 160?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I didn't know that. I'll have to look into it. Back to you.
Yeah, L7. That was the difference. The L7 was 160 through 10, and the L4 is 80 through 10. But they're a very archaic old amplifier. Personally, I wouldn't want one. I had one here. I was trying to fix for a guy, and my God, it was just terrible. It was just a lousy built amplifier. So, I would sell the L4 and the SB200 and buy something more modern.
Roger. Yeah, the L4 I got, it's not the L4B or whatever, it's the original. I converted to a B or A, whatever it was. But yeah, you're right. I had to completely rebuild it and bring it up to date. Put all new capacitors, update the diodes, and there's a whole bunch of things that I had to modify to bring it up to work with a solid-state rig. But it works pretty good now.
Too old.
Yeah, but I got it for nothing. So anybody else that's got some distance?
K1JEB, N1SAG. I'm in New Hartford, Connecticut. Name here is Dave. John, over.
You're in Hartford, you said, Dave?
New Hartford. I'm a little bit west of Hartford and in New Hartford, over.
Roger. What is my signal there?
You're just 910 over 9 here, over.
Yeah, you're 20 over on my end, so you're doing really well. So anyway, I can switch by going outside. I can switch to the whichever half of the 160-meter dipole that I had. I'm going through a Pelstar balanced antenna tuner because I have ladder line going all the way up to the dipole. It's a 160-meter dipole with a ladder line coming down to Pelstar antenna tuner, and I could actually tune from 160 meters to 10 meters with it that way. But it was a cloud warmer with a dipole. It was 70 feet high. So I just used a half of it and then used a folded counterpoint, folded back and forth with spacing about 4 inches apart. It seems to be working. It loads up 1-to-1 with the balanced antenna tuner. Back to you.
Which tuner do you have?
It's the CC1500A, a balanced balance.
All right, there's your tuner, Bob. See? How do you like that? One nice and local. Okay, thanks. I'm just curious which one you had. That's what I'm running here also, BT1500A.
That's a really nice tuner. Well built.
It sure is.
It's the Wheaties of tunas of champions.
That's for sure. How old is yours?
I think I got it about 8 years ago.
Well, when you got nothing to do you ever take it apart and clean it?
No, I haven't. But the rollers, as I'm rolling it, I tune it up with about 10 watts. And then, because that's the lowest power I can go with my IC765. And once I'm tuned up, then I crank up the power. But as I'm rolling it, I notice that the meter is hopping. So how do you clean them?
Well, you'd have to take the lid off. But here's the reason I'm asking you to take it apart. When you take the lid off, see, there's two big relays right behind the meter. If they're not both double pole, double throw. If the front relay towards the front is a single pole, double throw, you got to get rid of that relay. You got to send that back to Pelstar and have them upgrade that, because that might be old enough that has a single pole relay in it. And the problem with it is it's resonant on some of the ham bands, and then the relay starts to chatter and it burns everything up. And it's a fact, and there's nothing you can, that if it's got the single pole relay up front, call up Pelstar and ask them how much. They probably would do it for nothing, but that has to be fixed. So that's the first thing you got to do. Just see if that first relay is a single pole or a double pole.
So if it has a double pole, it's already done.
No, if it has two double pole relays in it, then it's a later model. If it's the earlier model, then it's got a single pole up front, and that one does not work right.
Okay, I got it. Wow, you got me curious. I'm going to have to take the top off to see which one I have. Do you know what serial numbers?
No serial numbers, but I've seen one of those. I had a guy send me one, and that it wouldn't tune on any band at all. It just was like it was broken, And I noticed that relay was all burned to a crisp. It was all blue, and it was a mess. And it was one of the earlier ones. And then to clean that, you got to be really careful when you clean it, because you got to clean the coils in there. The coils are silver plated, so you got to get a white rag, something like a t-shirt material, fold it over a couple of folds, and get some tuner cleaner, some of that good Deoxit. That's the best stuff to use, Deoxit D5. And then you've got to hold the soaked rag on the coil, and you got to turn the handle, and you got to go back and forth until you clean it. And then you got to clean the contacts on the relays. Believe me, when I did this one the first time, the relays were really, really, really dirty. They came out black, and you have to keep on cleaning them with the contact cleaner until they're nice and clean. And the one thing you got to be very, very careful of, the rollers are on the outside of the coil, which is right where they should be. And those rollers roll on a shaft, then the shaft is lubricated with what's that stuff? White lithium grease. Yeah, it's a mixture of 4 parts. You can make the grease yourself. It's white lithium grease, and you mix 4 parts. Pencil lead. What's pencil lead called?
Graphite.
Yeah, 4 parts graphite to 1 part lithium grease, and then you clean the shafts off, and you put that grease on the shaft very, very sparingly. You just put it on your fingers and wipe the shaft with it, and then when you crank the thing up and back and forth, the rollers will spread the grease out. But you got to be very, very careful not to get that grease on the coils, and it's real easy to do because there's not a lot of spacing between the shaft that the grease is on and the coils in there. You'll see it when you take it apart. If you haven't cleaned that in 8 years, that's not good. You're supposed to clean it every 6 months. Okay, N1DVL.
Well, you didn't tell me there was that much maintenance involved with this thing, Ray.
There isn't much maintenance, believe me. I'd clean it once a year, and it'll take you 30 or 40 minutes to do it.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I was just kidding.
You just got to be careful not to get that grease onto the roller. That's the way. Wait till you get that thing and you take it apart and you look. Well, you've seen pictures of the inside, but that doesn't do it justice. You really have to look inside one of those. That thing is so beautifully built.
Well, I looked at it with the pictures, and they all look pretty good.
Well, when you look at it in real life, I think you'll be more impressed than ever. It's just a beautiful tuner.
Are you guys all using 100 watts, or are you guys using linear?
Oh, my God. You're not very familiar with the world-famous Toad Harbor net, I can tell. No, we're all running amplifiers.
So I'm not doing too bad with 100 watts.
Well, we'll see later when the band. I don't know. Hang on. Tom, can you hear this gentleman, John? Can you hear John out there?
No, I can't hear him at all.
You don't hear him at all?
No. Just to get out of some of the noise here, I'm running 12 dB of attenuation. The noise is that bad.
Okay, John, can you hear the guy I was just talking to, Tom?
Yeah, I can hear Tom. He's not as strong as you guys. I have about an S9 worth of noise.
Right, okay. Well, Tom can't hear you, so that pretty much answers that question.
I'm back. KB2ZVP.
Yeah, here's a good test for you. Randy, how's John coming into you? Go ahead, John.
I heard Randy very well. Are you K2NZP, you said?
It's Kilo Bravo 2, Zulu Victoria Papa. My name is Randy, and I'm in Toad Harbor.
You said Toad Harbor?
Yeah, Toad Harbor. Toad Harbor.
Randy's the head toad.
Tell him it's near Syracuse, will you?
What are you talking about? Everybody knows where Toad Harbor is, Carl.
Jesus. No slack here.
John, hold on a second. Where are you from, John?
I'm in Littleton, Massachusetts. I'm about 40 miles northwest of Boston, real close to the New Hampshire border.
Well, obviously they have high schools in Littleton, Mass., so you know where Toad Harbor is, right?
No, not really.
It didn't get past the 8th grade there, huh?
8th grade, I was in North Carolina.
Oh, now everybody understands completely. Okay, Toad Harbor is just north of Syracuse, and we're just having some fun, John. You got a good signal here. You're 10 over S9.
It looks like my antenna's doing pretty good. Good to hear. Hey, I'll let you guys talk.
How much power are you running? Just 100 watts?
Yeah, barefoot. I see 765.
Okay, real good. Well, you're not real strong. Some of the guys out there in your neck of the woods would be stronger. They probably have a better antenna. But after all, you didn't know where Toad Harbor is, so I didn't expect you to have such a great antenna. But you're not doing bad. Like I said, between 9 and 10 over 9. At your peaks, you're 10 over 9.
Roger, thanks for the report. Yeah, my wife wants to watch a movie, so I'm going to go upstairs and oblige. Anyway, nice hearing you guys. I noticed that you guys up on every night on 1930 here, and usually about after supper you guys are chatting away. So I thought I'd give a shout and introduce myself. Anyway, but I'll let you guys continue, and I'm going to watch a movie. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
You bet. Happy you stopped by, John. 73, and hello to your wife.
Yes, okay, John, you have fun. Hey, Randy, now I know why I don't have a wife.
Well, Ray, what do you don't like movies?
I guess I didn't watch the movies with her. Hey, by the way, I went to a specialty store today. You know, the specialty store there, Better Life or Better Health, I think it's called Better Life. And they have all kinds of weird stuff. And I bought 2 teas. One of them is a clean, it's a detox. Yeah, it's a detox tea. Of course, I don't know if it works or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the stuff works. One tea detoxes you, and the other tea makes you sleepy. It's not sleep time, but it's something, it's a tea designed to make you sleep. So I had 2 cups of the detox stuff, and I'll tell you what, that was really good tea. It's all kinds of herbs in it, and it's very smooth tasting, and it has no caffeine in it, and it is also it doesn't have any chemicals in it. So I'll try the sleepy one tonight before I go to bed.
Of course, he's talking to us from his bathroom. KA1LH
Yeah, the detox tea will be kicking in about the time you take your sleepy time tea, probably.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope. And hey, maybe it works. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I did. And then I bought some flour. I bought some what do they call it? The good flour. Actually, it's not. It's cornmeal. It's cornmeal. So I can make like cornbread tomorrow or something.
Yeah, don't you know the rule of life, Ray?
No, what is it?
Never take a laxative and a sleeping pill at the same time.
It's not a laxative. It's a detox tea.
How do you think it gets the toxins out of your system?
I never thought about it. Sweat it out?
You better wear your pants to bed tonight, Ray.
When you get that feeling, don't think it'll pass. Just head to the bathroom.
Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. Anyway, tomorrow 9 o'clock supposed to be the bewitching hour. 9 o'clock tomorrow.
What bewitching hour?
The sale of the house. It's supposed to go down at 9, and he's going to meet me right afterwards locally here, and hand me the checks.
Oh, I'm taking tomorrow off and coming to your house. We're going to go celebrate.
I told Mark I'm sending him a new radio. I just don't know where I can do. Maybe you can help me. Do you know anybody that's got a Polycom 6?
No, but I got a Sears Road Talker someplace down in the basement.
Okay. Put that in a box and send it to Mark and just send me the bill.
You got it.
Ray, Lafayette?
No. Which model?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it in years.
I had a Lafayette HE20C. You guys have no idea. You have no idea the radios I had. My first CB radio was a Fillmore.
I had a Royce.
Well, a Royce is like a Kenwood 890. Look up a Fillmore.
I had a Sonar.
I had a Fillmore.
I don't believe it. A real Fillmore. Fillmores were kits.
I had a Fillmore 5-channel, and you had to replace the crystals in it.
That's what this was. That's exactly a gray. Was it gray?
Yes, it was gray. It was a tube radio.
Of course it was a tube. It was like a 1961 or 62. Yeah, gray front, 5-channel, crystal control. You set the VFO on channel 11, and you didn't even have to move it.
Yeah, that's right. No matter where everybody was, they'd hear you. Anyway, so let's talk about something better than CBs.
I can't believe you had a Fillmore. Wow, that really is something. So now, just one last question. Which radio would you rather run, the Fillmore or the 7851?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's an easy one to answer. That Fillmore was a great talking machine, man.
I had a Fillmore radio. It was a kit, and I think it was a 1 or 2 tubes, and it was AM. It was like the first kit I ever built. My dad helped me build it with a soldering iron that he heated on the gas stove.
My dad used the same soldering iron.
Yeah, it was a big giant thing. It was probably for doing pipes or something.
No, that's a body shop style soldering iron. My father used a regular soldering iron because his burned out, and we had to work on a mic. And he says, well, all you got to do, Rand, is get it hot. So he turned on the oven or turned on the burner, and that's how he soldered away.
Well, I still have the chassis for that, and I used it to make an S-meter for my Hallicrafters S20R, and I still have that chassis. It was just a U-shaped chassis with a stand-up front.
I'm telling you, wow, what a night. And Tom, go ahead. Go take a look at that Lafayette. I want to know what model you had. And you got all those old radios, Tom. I don't know why they're not all for sale. Some of those are collector's items.
Yeah, I know. I'd have to get a paddle in here and stir the pile and see if I could find it. I haven't found that 5 or 10 channel radio yet that I told Randy I had. It'll come to the top. It was in a maroon colored and white box. I'll find it.
Bring them to the picnic.
Well, I don't know why you just don't find all those radios, clean them up, and put them for sale. And then take all your money and put it in a pig until you get enough to buy the 890.
So did you hear the new news about the 7610?
They discontinued it?
No. It was released that they have got a replacement for the display, and right now it's going under a test they call I should actually look it up and read it to you. But they have a replacement and they're going to replace everybody's, no matter whose display or how old it gets, they're going to replace it for free, of course.
They were listening to Ray.
Oh yeah, they're either listening to the world famous Toad Harbor Net, or somebody came to their senses. I don't believe that. I just find that too hard to believe that they would actually do that. So, but if that's true, then what you said, Carl and John and everybody that already had their displays redone, they're going to go bad again.
Well, that's the thing. There's people all over the net talking about how they've gone bad again. So people are pretty upset about it. And some people are still jumping up and down that they don't have any problems with their display. But let's face it, a lot of people that have problems don't know it because they're it's just not really all that obvious. But they do say that they have a replacement display. That's a new manufacturer. Oh, and the other thing is the original manufacturer of the display, the manufacturer of the original display has now gone out of business. They're no longer in business.
Harry Carey, if they have any honor. Listen, look it. Guys, I hate to be the bearer. I truly, honestly hate to be Ray. But you just can't believe anything they tell you, okay? You just can't believe one word they say.
Fake news.
Yeah, it's not fake news. It's just that they just tell you any story they think you'll believe.
It's propaganda.
So, well, I'll let you know. I'm going to find this. I'm just making out a message to this woman that I'm buying a part for a tractor, and then I'll go on that and I'll find the thing from Ray, not the crazy Ray here, but the guys from ICOM. I'll tell you what he says.
Yeah, well, like I said, if you want to read it, go ahead. But I just don't even listen to those people. They'll just tell you any story they can get away with. But if, in all honesty, that's the right thing to do, then I'm much, 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 much better off with them, because that's what I said they should have done. They should have just replaced any display on that radio that goes bad for the life of the radio.
Okay, so we've got a guy in Pennsylvania listening. He can only go down to 40 meters. His name is Jim. And I don't know what Jim's call sign is. He's in southeastern Pennsylvania. Jim, what is your call sign? Throw me that. And this is Randy, by the way, Kilo Bravo 2, Zulu Victor Papa. I invited him to join the world-famous Toad Harbor Net. He's an ICOM guy, and he's got the 7610, and he has not had trouble with his. And I invited him to come in here to talk to some of the guys here that actually have the radio and have had troubles with them, and they could explain what troubles they had. But he said everyone is loud here in central or southeast Pennsylvania. Again, Jim, this is KB2ZVP. I'll wait for your response.
And the other thing I'd really, really, really like to know is, if you had to pay for that display to be changed, how much would it cost?
Yeah, I'm guessing the estimate you came up with last night, Ray, was about $400 or $500. That's probably pretty close to it, I would imagine, huh?
Well, my buddy Paul tells me those displays, you can buy them for $5. They're really dirt cheap, so I don't know. But if ICOM is going to do what of course, that was my suggestion, of course, but if ICOM is going to just replace those displays basically for the life of the radio, at least up until the current radios are getting the new displays, and they'll know exactly what serial number that is, probably serial number 4000 or so, and they're willing to replace the displays free of charge for anybody before then they're back on my good side.
Yeah, you'll have to get one for a back.
No, I'm done with them. I'm done. I don't really, I really didn't like I like the radio. I do like the radio. It's pretty. It has a beautiful display. It's a nice radio, but I don't like that touchstone screen. I'm with Randy on this one. Give me a radio with buttons.
So Jim is listening now. I don't know Jim's call still. Jim, I need your call sign. He just messaged me. I was just hoping he could get in here because he has one of these rigs, and I know a lot of the guys that are in here right now have one, right? That have had one or have had trouble with them, or is Bill? Now, did Bill from Vermont ever say that he had trouble with his, or is his still okay?
I thought he was having intermittent preamp problems, but I don't know. I don't remember. There's so many people here that have screwed up radios, it's hard to remember.
Okay, he's W3 ATV. Others I know have zero problems. So, one of the group earlier adopters of the A7610. So we've had a lot of people here, Jim, that have had 7610s, and I think everybody that's in the group has had sort of trouble, whether it's a display or burned up preamp, or what Ray's got up there. He gets overloaded really, really badly because he's got a 2-meter repeater in his backyard that's wiping him out. I think it's 2 meters, and there's some business band stuff that kills him as well. So I don't know. It's just kind of weird to do, but I just was hoping that Jim could get in here and rub elbows with the great people on the world famous Toad Harbor now. By the way, Jim, how's my signal down there compared to Ray? Ray is the other guy that I don't care if I'm stronger than anybody else. I just want to make sure I'm stronger than Ray. Ray, make a transmission.
Okay, hang on. I gotta adjust my hello. Yeah, I gotta adjust my power here. Okay, N1 DVL, hello radio from Wilbraham, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's right. I could tell you what he said, but I probably should screen save this and then send it around so everybody else will see it. It says, and I repeat, you are the channel master, LOL, the loudest. And he says, Ray who? Who's Ray? I don't hear anybody else. I don't hear anybody named Ray.
Yeah, well, you must, what do you do? You probably already emailed them and told them you're going to send them 12 T-shirts and a new tube.
No, I didn't, but it's a good idea. What size guy are you, Jim? I'll send you a Toad Harbor T-shirt. He says, no bribes necessary. So anyway, go ahead. You guys pick it up, and I'm going to see if I can't find this article here. But it does sound like ICOM has got the problem isolated, and they're going to do that. A company like ICOM is not going to hammer people, and not stand behind that radio. So that's good. They don't want the bad press.
Well, then, why did I get the big super story there? Gee, there's only really been, maybe 1 or 2 radios had a bad display. That's it.
Well, I don't know. That was earlier on, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they weren't sure yet how they were going to handle it. You know, big corporations like that, when they have a big problem, Ray, they have to have a committee to decide how they're going to handle this. And I'm sure, you think about it, you're looking at like thousands upon thousands of radios with a potential problem, and they probably didn't have their arms around the entire problem at the time. So they probably weren't sure of the scope of the problem, nor were they sure of how they were going to handle the problem. So they probably wanted to throw a blanket over it for as best, to give them some time to get it figured out. You don't blame them for that, do you?
Yeah, I do. You always tell the truth. Look at everybody that ends up in jail, like Lori Loughlin. Okay, if she just straight out right from the beginning said, "Yep, you're right. We got a problem. I made a mistake. Tell me how to get out of this," and she would have been way better off. But no, got a BS.
Well, that's one woman for herself personally, but this is a worldwide company that has to have board of directors and they have to handle things. Okay, now I got a phone call. I'll be right back. KB2ZVP.
And I got to check in with Mom. I'll be back. WG2E.
Hey, Ray, this is KC1EWJ.
Hello. Go ahead.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Quick question for you on tuners, and I spoke with you in the past. The question I have is, as I understand, the tuner really doesn't tune the antenna. It just helps match the impedance, I should say, between the transceiver and the antenna. So precisely, I mean, I'm not quite sure how it does it, but does it result in sending more signal back to the antenna? Again, does the tuner actually, the use of a tuner, does it actually help send the reflected signal back up toward the antenna?
No. The tuner doesn't change in theory. It's a very complicated answer. But basically, the tuner, the match is at the antenna. You know what I'm saying? It's where the cable connects to the antenna is where you get your match. So the only way you can affect that is to change the antenna length or change the length of the feed line or you just got to make the antenna match the feed line. That's when you have a 1-to-1 SWR and then you got 100% transfer of power. It's when the feed line impedance matches the antenna impedance, and that only happens in one spot at one frequency, and you're lucky if you can even do that. So all the tuner does, the only thing the tuner does is make the amplifier see a 50 ohm load. So, you might have, let's say you have, 800 ohm load on the back of your, at the back of your tuner. So if you divide your coax cable 50 ohms into 800, you come up with 16-to-1. So, and that doesn't count the reactance and everything else. So you got a 16 or 20-to-1 SWR. So the tuner just flattens the line between the amplifier or the radio and the tuner. The SWR on the line is always there, and the loss due to standing waves is always there. And that's why you use open wire line, because open wire line has about 10 times less loss than coax.
So really, the tuner just really protects the amplifier pretty much. Is that correct?
Yes, but with the advent of these new radios that are solid state, they can't go into higher than about a 1.5-to-1 SWR, or the radio folds back. So in theory, if you were trying to put the 100-watt output into a 10 or 20-to-1 SWR, the radio only put out about 4 or 5 watts. So technically, when you tune the tuner, the radio will put out 100 watts. But the important thing you have to remember is the loss between the tuner and the antenna due to standing waves is always there. And that's why we use open wire line, because a piece of coax with a 20 or 30-to-1 SWR will have 10 or 15 dB of loss on the line, where the open wire line's only going to have 1 or 1.5 dB.
Well, here's a question. With a half wave, 160 meter, is the dipole at 50 ohms roughly?
Well, yes and no. If you put it in if you put the dipole in space, so you put it 10,000 feet above the ground, it's about 73 ohms. So if you put 50 ohm coax into it, you're going to have an SWR of maybe 1.5 or 1.4. But on this band, it's very close to the ground, and the impedance will be lower than that. So it's going to be damn close to 50 ohms.
Well, okay. Well, therefore, if the dipole is around 50 ohms and you had 50 ohm, could you not just use 50 ohm cable or go right into the transceiver?
Yes. But the problem is, what happens when you move off of 1930 and you go down to like 1850 or 1840? Your SWR is going to be 4 or 5 or 6 to 1 again.
Gotcha. So again, for one frequency, if one wanted to just have a 190, you could cut the dipole to the correct length, use 50 ohm cable, and you would be in good shape.
You would be, yes, and you would not need a tuner, and the efficiency would be even higher because the tuner always has some small amount of loss in it. But the problem becomes we all use one antenna for all the bands. So as soon as you change off of 1930, your SWR goes up, or if you go to 80 meters or 40 or any of the other bands, it's astronomical.
Yeah, so what I've been doing, what I'm thinking of doing is just having my antenna tuned for 1.930, and then when I'm going to go to the other frequencies, then I will use my G5RV. Oh.
Well, that's funny. Yeah, you could do that, but there's two reasons why you probably don't want to. Number one, your 160 antenna with the right tuner and good feed line on it will outperform the G5RV probably on every band. And the trouble is, once you put two antennas on the same piece of property, they interfere with each other and can cause all kinds of problems.
You recall you saying that in the past. I'm curious, what is your background? You seem to be relatively knowledgeable about a lot of different topics.
I made spaghetti sauce. I owned a restaurant.
And the funny thing is, the sauce wasn't even all that good.
Student of human behavior.
No, we had great sauce. Everybody in the city talked about our sauce. Yeah, I owned a restaurant, so I'm a glorified bartender, dishwasher.
Well, how did you pick up so much information on electrical engineering?
Well,
he's been hanging around with Randy.
I started in radio when I was 11 years old. I was mesmerized by it when I first saw it work, and I kind of never lost that kind of thinking.
The anal probe.
Okay, now again, your restaurant must have been Italian, is that correct?
It was Italian-American, yes.
Okay, very good. I'll turn it over to the rest of you folks. This is KC1EWJ.
Well, so anyway, are you running a tuner?
Yeah, but I don't want to tell you about that because you've already, I don't want to say blasted me, but you told me that it's a piece of crap. That was the MFJ, and I understand it can't tune a wire, but I'm using it with a coax.
Right. Well, all I can tell you is we've got several people in here right now that recently got on. They listened. They bought the right tuner. They built the right antenna, and they bought the right radio, and they have ferociously strong signals with great performance everywhere. So the fact is the systems that we plan or build or whatever you want to call it really work well. And the G5RV is one hell of a horrible antenna. So I'm sure it'll work okay on some bands. There are a few bands that G5RV will work on, but as a general rule, 80 meters and 160 aren't where that antenna's going to work. So you'd be better off just getting the open wire line like we suggested. Remember, are you the one I said you just bought it, and I said send it back as soon as you get it? Just call them up, tell them you don't want it, and send it back.
You have a very good memory.
Yeah, well, see, that's what you should have done. because then you could have bought the BT 1500A like I have and several other people in here have, and hooked it up to one good antenna and used it on all the bands and been way ahead of the game. But that's, whatever. You're a big boy. You can do whatever you want. Okay, anyway, 7.3, back to net, N1 DVL.
What I understood from our conversation basically is not resulting in sending more signal to the antenna. It's just making sure that the transceiver can send out, we'll say, 100 watts, because it thinks, it doesn't see the SWR.
Don't you have any amateur radio handbooks or anything?
All right. I'll read some more. Go ahead.
No, I was going to, I should have said, do you have any amateur radio handbooks?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, there's a part under the antenna section, very, very part that you should read, and it's additional loss caused by standing waves, and it goes into it, and it shows you when the line's matched and when the line's not matched. So in other words, let's say when the line's matched, it has 1 dB loss. So with a 10-to-1 SWR, it'll have an additional 4 or 5 dB loss. Okay, that's the way it works. Now, here's the problem. If you're on a band where let's just say for the sake of argument, and I'm going to take this, give me one more second, guys, got to get my calculator out. Let's say you're using a 160 dipole on 80 meters. So the impedance on 80 meters is going to be at least 2,500 ohms because it's a full wavelength. So 2,500 ohms divided by 50. So the SWR is going to be 50 to 1. And believe me, it's going to be more than that, but it's going to be between 50 and 100 to 1. So now that cable, say a piece of RGA cable on 80 meters when perfectly matched, so that would be a half-wave dipole with a 50 ohm cable, 50 ohm dipole, it's going to have maybe 0.3 dB of loss. But when the SWR is 60 or 70 or 80 to 1, now you're going to have 10 or 11 dB of loss. You might have 14 or 15 dB of loss, where if you had the same open wire line on the same thing, instead of having, let's say 12 dB of loss, you're only going to have 1 dB of loss.
That I understand, but let's just go back to assuming that you had a 50 ohm coax, and you had the MFJ tuner versus the Pelstar tuner, would it still be giving you the same amount of signal or power going to the antenna? What the tuner does is just make sure that it matches the transceiver?
No, because you're talking about the MFJ with coax cable?
Right, so let's just say you had an MFJ with coax versus the Pelstar with coax.
Well, the Pelstar tuner that we use, you can't put coax on it. But the answer, in theory, yes, the loss would be the same. It wouldn't matter. But in the problem becomes when you try to put open wire line onto that tuner you bought. Most likely, it won't be able to tune it.
Absolutely. No, I totally understand what you're saying then. Yes, it's not a matter of having the MFJ with coax. That's fine. The Pelstar might have done the same thing. However, you're recommending using different feed line. That I understand.
Yeah, coax is really a bad choice unless you're just going to use a single, a half-wave dipole fed with the coax cable on one band. Then coax is a fine choice. But if you're going to go off the band, or you're going to go to the ends of the band, like here, you go down to 1850, and I don't know how high the VISWAR would be, but I'm guaranteed it's going to be 8 or 9 or 10 to 1. And then the loss on the line goes way up. There's a great chart in one of the antenna books, and it really explains this in detail. And they show you the classic 100-foot-long dipole, which is resonant at 4.6 megahertz, and then they sweep it from 160 through 10 meters. And they show you the loss with coax cable on all the different bands. And then they show you the loss with open wire line on all the different bands. And I'll just do this last thing, and then I want to get out of here because everybody's going crazy. But if you take that 100-foot-long dipole, center feed it with coax, resonant 4.6, and tune that up on 1.8 megahertz, the additional loss caused by standing waves is 26.5 dB.
Understood. No, I understood what you said. Okay. We'll let others join in and maybe change the conversation. Again, thank you, Ray. KC1EW.
Just think of what I just said. 26.5 dB additional loss caused by the coax, and the standing wave, by the way, is like 1800 to 1. It's actually 1800 and change to 1. Whereas if you run an open wire line, the loss is 12 dB if you use the cheap stuff, and if you use the stuff we use here, it drops to 8 dB. So you're looking 18 dB better with open wire feed line. Okay, that's why we push the open wire. Okay, N1 DBL 73.
Good to hear you again, Bill, by the way. Nice to hear you. KB2ZVP.
I actually listen to you guys every evening. I just don't say a lot. And usually I don't fall asleep.
Yeah, we have a test that we do too, like with the tuners, you know. I was just going to say that, like when I'm talking to Pal Palstar, he asked me to do this test, and I had done it. I was telling him that Ray and I have done these things. We'll put like 1,800 watts through the tuner for 3 minutes into a tune to load, like it would be a high SWR if it wasn't for the tuner, and then measure your inductor, your roller inductor. If you were to do that with the MSJ, you'd probably melt the thing, you know. And what I'm trying to say there is there is efficiencies that you have to talk about too between the two different types of antenna tuners, you know.
But again, I'm only running 100 watts, and as I said earlier, I'm really just interested to listen to you guys on 160.
And you don't even need the tuner.
Yeah, just you lick your finger and touch the socket. But you're better off getting in here once in a while because it's good to hear you.
Why I got the tuner was I was concerned, although my transmission's not that long, is that without a tuner, with the configuration I have, which is the 160 meter half dipole with 50 ohm, I'm getting a lot of SWR, which is going to be bouncing back in the transceiver, and I thought the tuner would at least prevent that from happening.
Yeah, it will. The rig will put out 100 watts instead of whatever it puts out, you know, with it back. That antenna tuner is probably not much different than the tuner that you have built in the rig. So if you can tune it with the antenna tuner in the rig, you're better off getting rid of the tuner and just going the coax to the antenna, because then you get rid of any inefficiencies between the coax connectors and the tuner and all that, you know.
No, I understood, but initially I tried that, but the SWR on the ICOM 7300 was greater than 3, so there was more of a mismatch than the internal antenna tuner could do, but the MFJ has a greater range, and it works great.
Got it. Okay, very good.
Okay, guys, thanks.
You forgot to mention conjugate match. You got to tell them to look up conjugate match, WB2UAQ.
Did you hear Pete out there, Bill?
Yes, I did. Where's Pete located?
Pete's out near Rochester. Go ahead, Pete. Western New York.
Yeah, good evening, guys. WB2UAQ here. When you do your reading in the handbook, look up conjugate match. That's what the transmatch creates. It creates what's known as the conjugate match. I can explain it, but you'd have to, it's best if you read it. It's best if you read it. Anyway, I thought I'd share that. Back to you, Randy. I can't hear the other station very well. For some reason, I have like an S9 noise level here. It's crazy. Something's going on locally. Back to you, Randy. WB2UAQ.
Yeah, I've got a lot of static here tonight too, but well, it's getting to be towards summertime, and we're all going to be happy on those nights that we only have an S9 noise level.
Yeah, Peter, I made some of the things that you said, but I get a lot of noise, so I couldn't make out everything. Over.
He said the same thing, Bill. He can't hear you very well because of all the noise. You guys are both running probably just 100 watts, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
What are you running out there, Pete? 100 watts?
Yeah, just 100 watts PEP. Yeah, it almost sounds to me like precipitation static, but no, we're not getting any rain or snow. The noise, that's what it sounds like. That's the way you hear it as well, Randy? Over.
Maybe to a degree. I just got static. It doesn't sound. I don't hear that rushing sound like I do when I get snow, and there's no popping at all. I just got a basic background static.
Okay, so maybe I do have some kind of local noise problem. But how you doing, Randy? How are you doing with your vertical? Is that plan still going forward? Over.
Well, we're still in the planning stages. You know, the Ray has got about 14 different. No, I shouldn't say that. Ray's got 2 or 3 different antennas that he wants me to put up, and I just want to have time to put up the tower. You know, put up the vertical tower and like that. But you know, it's work's getting more and more busy, and I don't know. I'm trying to find time to work around the house. My wife's got a long list. We've got a whole bunch of stuff, you know, bathroom stuff, you know, new tubs and all that into the basement that I've got to get installed, and you know, it's shaping up to be a pretty busy summer. So we'll see where the tower goes.
Okay, very good. I haven't checked in a while. Have you talked? I haven't heard from Devin in a long time. We had an email exchange, but that's been some weeks ago.
Yeah, he's back, and he was in here last night, and yeah, he's been around.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I'm still active with the AWA, where we had a series of classes that we put on, and I helped out with those. We had 4 classes, and I helped out with that. I'm just a gopher. I'm not a good instructor, so but I help out, you know, in a one-on-one type of setup there. So, and we're working on we're working on the James Millen transmitter. It was built. James Millen built it in the 30s, and I'm helping out with that a little bit. So, and we're still beating on the end-set half-wave antenna stuff. Myself and a number of us in this area were beating on that still, but that's going to wrap up pretty fast. So, on April 20th, we have another. On April 20th, we're going to meet at the Gannett Hill. It's the Ontario. I should have said we're going to meet at the Ontario County Park, which is on Gannett Hill. It's down in Bristol. So anyway, I thought I'd check in and get an update and add my 2 cents about conjugate match. Very important. It's based on Thevenin's theorem of maximum power transfer. And it's extended to RF stuff, AC circuits, but very important ideas. And it tells you how the transmatch works. It explains how the transmatch performs its matching, its impedance conversion. But anyway, back to you, Randy. I won't bog things down here. WBTU-AQ.
Okay, Pete, real good. James Millen, right? He's I don't know who that is. James Millen. He's a guy that had some kind of an amplifier or something, right?
Yeah, he had a product line. He actually worked for National Radio, from what I gather, and then he started his own product line and so forth, and he had a homebrew kilowatt transmitter that he had, and the AWA got a hold of it, and we're preserving it. We're going to actually get it back on the air. We'll actually get it back get it back up and running, and we're making it a little safer. I got a good zap. I got hit with. It's a good thing it was only 350 volts. We didn't realize that
didn't realize that something was hot with DC. And I went and hooked something up, and I got a pretty good zap from it. And because it's all home brewed and it's all open, there's no. Think of a rack of three racks, three 19-inch racks tied together, and it's all open in the back. All the coils and all the tubes and everything. The plate transformers and modulation transformers are just laying basically on the floor behind it. So it was a real homebrew, real slap together thing. But anyway, that's. And James Millen made a famous grid dip oscillator. I have one of his. And other things too. I don't know him that. I don't really know him that well. I can't tell you what all the individual things were, but he built transmitters and all that stuff. Anyway, back to you, Randy. WBTUAQ.
Okay, Pete. Well, real good. I don't want to keep things going here, but I heard the name before. I know there was something about an amplifier that he built, some special amp. Maybe I heard about it when I was up at the AWA. I'm not even sure where I knew that name, but I knew it had something to do with an amplifier, that he was like a renowned amplifier guy or built some kind of an amp or something like that. Anyway, good to hear you, Pete. KB2ZVP, back to net.
Okay, 7-3, guys, WBTUAQ.
WG2E is back.
So how was your trip back, Carl? You nice ride?
Yeah, I did pretty good yesterday. 780 miles, going along pretty good. Let me think. Yeah, everybody was moving pretty good. Not too many of those weirdos in the left lane that decide nobody can go over 55. That kind of a thing. So, and not being tied to being back for a work day or something, I just chose the best driving days. I guess you knew about it, but the only bad thing happened is I had my windshield cracked on the way down. And I never did get it fixed down there. We just couldn't figure it out. So it's probably just as well, because it got hit twice again on the way back. No more cracks, but there was a couple of pretty good whacks. So I got to get that fixed here one of these days.
Yeah, I'm happy that you waited. Well, you had to wait, because that's the thing. You're on the road. It's good chance it could happen again. So wait till you get home and where you're safe and sound, and then get it fixed. That would be my advice anyway.
Yeah, there was a couple of times that the traffic was stopped for an accident or construction or whatever here and there. And there was one point where I could see like 1.5 miles or 2 miles up the road. And I can't believe just how many trucks there are now. It's like you could almost walk and jump from one truck to the other and walk for a mile on top of trucks.
Well, the economy is good, and people are buying things, and things are moved by trucks.
Yeah, and I guess the truck people are having trouble finding good drivers. All the old timers are all retiring.
Every company in business is having a hard time trying to find people, whether it's block plants, whether it's welding companies, whether the mechanics and truck drivers are highly, highly, highly sought after, and they're getting paid big money. I mean, truck drivers now can get $100,000 a year without even batting an eye.
Yeah, well, it's a long time away too. I suppose for me or a single guy or whatever, that would be okay. I mean, I could do it, but I never got around to getting my license.
Well, a lot of people like it, and the trucks are nicer than they've ever been to drive too. It's not they're not like they used to be, where you had to be a big strong guy to drive a truck. You look at these trucks, there's an awful lot of women out there driving and all that. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure where Tom and everybody went. I know Randy was in there. Well, now, Randy had something he sent me about somebody found a bunch of information about Hillary Clinton's emails, 422 more pages of emails from Hillary Clinton, that she may be in some trouble.
Well, being away on vacation, I didn't even watch the news until today. So apparently, the world could have just gone up in a ball of flame. I wouldn't even have known.
Just remember what I'm telling you. They messed with the wrong guy.
Yeah, well, I agree. I think there's an awful lot of people going to be in an awful lot of trouble pretty soon.
You can bet your you-know-what. They messed with the wrong guy. That's why we got to get him elected again, because if he gets elected again, the rest of those no good you-know-whats will be in jail. Half of those people will be in jail for 30 or 40 years.
The ones that don't kill themselves first.
Well, either way, it wouldn't, believe me, if they all killed themselves, they'd be doing the world a favor.
Hey, I saw a lot of the trucks I passed had ham antennas on.
Yeah, most truck drivers don't even use CB anymore, from what I understand. An awful lot of them use 2 meters, and a lot of them use HF.
2 meters.
Well, and all the cars and trucks
CB,
and everything
you can't use CB anymore.
I'm afraid I didn't see one
the smartest person on CB is a blithering idiot.
I got both of those. Yeah, well, the high-Q antennas, I don't see very many of those things when I'm driving around. I drive a lot, and I don't see very many of them. I did run across one guy that had a 4-inch diameter high-Q antenna, but I don't know if I've ever seen, well, except for when Mike and I drive up and down the road together, then people think that the Looney Tunes are taking over the world when we go by.
Where are you, Apollo? Apollo, come in.
When you want to get one of those, do you have to buy them from that guy?
Come in, Apollo.
Or yeah, you can get them from him, or you can get them used, but he's the only one that sells them. He doesn't do anywhere.
Okay. Am I supposed to mention your name?
Where's Apollo?
You should, yeah, absolutely. We're best buddies again. I just bought some more stuff from him the other day.
Come in, Apollo.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to get something going on Scooby-Doo there. I wonder if I could make something strong enough to hold that in the back.
Absolutely. You could build a mount off. I mean, those receiving hitches they got on the back of those would hold that antenna with no trouble.
Yeah, but the whole back of that thing is, it's like a plastic covering, and I'm assuming that if you had even a trailer hitch, that it would be all through that. What I was thinking is, I got the 4-cylinder, and it's got a single exhaust, but they have, there's like a little port that you can take out of that plastic covering that's for the second exhaust, because if you have a 6-cylinder in there, you get dual exhaust. So I was thinking that maybe I could make some kind of hitch work or bracket work behind that outer covering, and then just have it come out where that hole is for the second exhaust. That way I wouldn't have to ruin the body lines.
Yeah, that would pop right off, and then you could pop it back in. You could make like a receiver type hitch just before it, and on the inside, underneath the body, and then you could pull a pin, pull the antenna off, and pop that piece back in. You wouldn't even know the car was rigged for a mobile signal.
Yeah, and it could be fairly permanent, because very seldom do I ever put it in the garage. It's outside all the time.
Well, your antenna probably wouldn't be all that high if you did one like what I have. It's 7 feet, and it'd only be probably 8 feet, maybe a little over 8 feet, I guess, if you pulled it into the garage. If you got 8-foot doors, it might be close,
Geez, I'm lucky if I have a 7-foot door. I have to be careful where I put my truck if I want to open the hood in my garage, because there's like the ductwork for the heating that goes along the ceiling, and if I don't park the truck just right, the hood will hit it.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's pretty low. Well, I don't know. It's a lot of work. I like it. You know, I like mobiling along and all that stuff, but I'm not sure if it's for everybody. As a matter of fact, I know it's not for everybody. There's most people wouldn't want to do or put the effort, or especially the money, into it that I have. So I don't know. You got to think about it long and hard if you want to spend that kind of, you know, $1,100 for an antenna, you know, to get on the air. I know you've got lots and lots of money, so it's not a big deal for you, but still, it's a lot of effort.
Yeah, and you could, you know, and you always have it. So if you get rid of the car or whatever, you keep the antenna, put it on the next one.
What happens when it shorts out 2 times every winter?
The smart thing to do is to take it off the car in the wintertime. Don't even try to use it in the winter. I've used mine, and I thought I was going to make it through the whole year without a problem, and it didn't take me but a few transmissions to screw up my antenna. So I got to tell you, I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. You know, I should have made a guard like I was going to do many times, and I just never did that, and I screwed up another one. So I really wish I hadn't screwed it up. I'll tell you that. I'm not happy about it.
I wonder if that guard's going to help. I mean, not the guard, but you want to put that heat shrink tubing over it. You think that's going to help?
Well, I think it would help, Ray, because it's 600-volt rated, you know, AC. But I think if you put 2 coats of that on there, that would raise your resistance for the RF to get through, probably to a degree. Maybe it would help, you know, maybe the RF wouldn't jump off the coil up the side of the antenna. I really, truly think the best thing to do next winter, I'll just unbolt the antenna and put it on days that I'm going to take a long trip or something, you know. I just take the antenna right off the truck and not even have it on there, be tempted to use it.
Yeah, I wouldn't need it day to day, but it sure would have been nice for a 13-hour trip.
That 13-hour trip would have seemed like 10 minutes or a couple hours, you know, when you're talking to all your buddies and all the different bands.
Well, I sold all my mobile antenna stuff. I had a couple of those Outbacker antennas, which didn't work too terribly bad, but I still have the 706.
You know, I used my 706, and I used those Hustler resonators. They work pretty good. I mean, that's an inexpensive way to get on, say, 60 meters, 60 and 40 meters. They work really good for those bands.
Yeah, well, I had those too for 10, 15, and 20 from years ago, and I sold them. And then I had the 2 Outbackers, and then I had, I don't know, I forget even what kind it was, but it was a separate whip for each band, and I had like 5 of them. It was, my stepfather gave them to me. He used to have them on his sailboat. And he ran in a little Kenwood rig. Was like a TS-110 or something, and I ended up selling that.
TS-110? TS-140.
Yeah, maybe. I don't even remember what it was, but it was just, it was 80 through 10 meters, and that's what he had on his sailboat.
Now, what happens when this 4G or 5G, this 5G comes out? At that point, I think you could just run your phone and talk over your ham radio that way, and probably be a lot easier.
Well, yeah, I suppose, I could use my station mobile, or, while I'm mobiling, use the station here. But I'm not one to, especially in the summer, to leave it alone with things connected,
Yeah, no, I understand that. There must be I think somebody makes a whole deal. It's not cheap. It's like $800, but it connects up to the whole station, and you can disconnect the antenna and amplifier and everything.
Yeah, I could build something computer controlled, with a PLC and coax relays and stuff, to disconnect things and ground it. But, it's probably just a lot of work.
Yeah, but the mobile's probably a lot more work.
10, 3 or more.
Hello, Mark. Yeah, it would be a lot more work. Doing a mobile is a lot of work. If you're going to do it what I call the right way, it's going to be a tremendous amount of work. Working mobile from a phone to your base station, if you're so equipped, is probably a smarter way to go. Certainly, it's a much easier way to go.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of work when I did my first Subaru to put the 706 in there, because I ran, I think, number 8 or number 6 wires, plus and minus, and fused them from the battery all the way back to the trunk where I mounted the radio, and then I had the 12-foot cable up to the head unit.
Yeah, well, that's about an hour's worth of work compared to about 40 or 50 hours worth of work to bond that thing the right way.
Yeah, well, I probably would have worked a lot better had I, known then what you guys are telling me now, because all I did was the trunk lid and the hood lid with a couple of flexible straps. And I didn't do any of the doors, exhaust system, or any of that kind of stuff, which apparently appears to be important. WG2E.
Well, the exhaust is probably the most important, or one of the most important things to do. KB2ZVP.
What does the exhaust do? Give you a signal or give you a noise reduction?
Well, noise reduction, and the lower to the ground the everything is, the better. So you want to bond as much as you can underneath the car, together. As much steel underneath that car, underneath the antenna, the better.
Well, you just don't realize what you just said, because I was watching a thing on the Hindenburg today, and one of NASA's hydrogen expert scientists got involved in the Hindenburg, and he has his theory on how what happened to the Hindenburg. And if you remember, they brought it in at 200 feet, and he said had they brought it right down as close to the ground as they can, which is normal, he said that's normal for them to come in very low to the ground. He said they probably would have never had the problem. But because it was 200 feet in the air, it acts like a capacitor, and there was a lot of static electricity in the air because there was electrical storms around, and that started an arc on the surface of the blimp. And of course the blimp was painted with rocket fuel. Essentially, it was painted with what's that stuff they used during World War II? It burned at super high temperatures. What was that stuff called?
Thermite?
Yeah, thermite. The blimp was basically painted with a combination thermite rocket fuel, and once it got going, that's what did it. Burned it. They said they did a lot of research on it. It was burning at 55 feet per second, I think it was, something like that, 55 feet a second, and that once that thermite gets going, it just that's what took the whole blimp down.
We'll never know.
All the humanity, the guy said when he was watching it burn and people dying and all that was horrible.
Oh yeah, if you were that thing was 850 feet long. Can you imagine the heat? Even if you were back 200 or 300 feet from that, I'll bet you that heat was so intense that it would burn you.
What's really amazing is folks survived that.
Yeah, the people that were inside it survived it.
Oh yeah, that's but they had all that structure coming down on top of them. I tell you, that's amazing that they survived that.
It was, but boy, I'll tell you, that was, And, I didn't know this, but I watched the show today, and it was extremely interesting and very, very informative. I always thought hydrogen would self-combust, and it will not. You can light a match. If you were inside one of those balloons filled with hydrogen, you could sit there lighting matches all day long, and the stuff won't go off. It has to mix with oxygen.
Well, you couldn't light a match without oxygen.
No, that's right. You couldn't. Well, the match might light because those old matches had their own oxidizer on them. So the match would light, but then it would go right out. But I didn't. I thought hydrogen went off by itself, but he said no. Hydrogen has to have just the right amount of oxygen for it to explode and to burn like that. So he said that basically that those blimps were a lot safer than you thought they were.
Yeah, if there were a leak, and it was hydrogen was coming out into an oxygen atmosphere, well, then something could happen.
Well, they came into an electrical storm. There was electrical storms all over the place. And don't forget, that blimp's 850 feet long, and you put it 200 feet off the ground, then it probably makes a perfect capacitor.
It's almost as long. It's a couple hundred feet shorter than an aircraft carrier. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that thing was huge. I mean, that thing was really, really big. I'm surprised. I'm sure they have lighter-than-air vehicles now. They're supposed to have some real secret lighter-than-air vehicles, and if they have propulsion very similar to, the alien stuff. That would be a great craft, because with the new modern materials, with carbon fiber and much better, outside material and everything, those things could stay in the air forever. They could just go up to, 50 or 60,000 feet, and they could stay up there for a year if you could feed the people.
Yeah, covered with solar panels.
They don't need solar panels if they have the new propulsion system, whatever that is. They just keep right on going.
Yeah, all unmanned. You could stay out there indefinitely.
Is that what the internet companies are using in far-off places?
They're using stuff like that. Some of them are using solar-powered planes. Yeah, I think one of them was trying a solar-powered plane. Thing was so light and so big and goes up to 50 or 40 or 50,000 feet, and it can actually stay up overnight.
Well, some of these companies have the technology. They can put not solar, but they can put like cellular communications and internet and like that in these far off places, and these things just hover above the ground and just radiate, transmit. Your cells connect to them, and the things just stay there for I think it's months at a time.
Yeah, they're essentially autonomous airborne repeater platforms, and they can do it. The other thing I read today, and I got a couple of things in my email at work, was the Chinese Navy. One of their new things that they've been going after is undersea cable. So this Huawei company, or the Chinese company that has this 5G network and all of that's laying it. And of course, the way the Chinese law is that any company that lays networks and all that, the government has to have ins on it. So all of this 5G cables in the Pacific, the Chinese Navy are the ones that are all in on and able to get it. So the U.S. has told the Europeans, you rely on all this 5G stuff, but we get some real security concerns, and I think you'll be hearing more about that in the months to come. That'll be interesting to watch how that plays out. But they're targeting the cables because of all of the information they can get from it.
What do you mean they're targeting it? They're listening to it. They're strapping to it and understanding what's going through it, or they're cutting it. And I didn't catch the first part of what you said.
No, they're not targeting it, meaning intruding. So they don't get anything by severing it unless it's it's in their interest. But no, just having access to all of the traffic.
Are you guys familiar with what the U.S. pulled off during the Cold War, where they went to that Russian place and they had a cable? It was for the military, and this cable went across, 5 or 10 miles of this spot, and the U.S. went in with a submarine, and they would put a big, like a 55-gallon drum on the cable, and then they would come back a year later, and that thing was recording everything that was going through there.
Yeah, they did a couple of things. They also intruded into some cables. I want to say it was in Moscow. They had some cables that they were able to get access to and cut into and listen in real time on a lot of stuff. Pretty interesting stuff, all that espionage.
Did you guys hear anything about that Assange today? Assange, whatever his name is. Did you know why they threw him out of there?
Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks guy?
Yeah, they arrested him today, and they took him away. They went into the embassy there, and the Brits arrested him. Did you see that on TV?
No, I didn't watch any TV, and I didn't hear anything on it, Ray.
Yeah, it was all over the internet. And I was watching it on the internet, and he had been cut off he had his internet cut off over a year and a half ago, and they finally now gathered him up for the Americans. But he may face charges for that rape charge, or that rape, whatever. He was accused of raping some woman, and he took off, and he never faced the music there. But I think it's, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I would not be a bit surprised that it's a way to get him here to find out what he knows about the Clintons and all that, and then pardon him. I would love that to happen.
Well, if you saw him today, okay, because remember what he looked like? He looked like he might have been, let's say 35 years old, good-looking guy, all cropped up, nice-looking.
Oh, I saw him with his beard and giving thumbs up out the window and the peace sign out the window. I saw him shuffling along.
Well, when they took him out today, he looked 75 years old, and that's what they said on TV, and I agree. He could have easily passed for 75. He's bald. He's white as can be. He's got a big, long beard. He doesn't look like the same person, and he was going crazy in there. And one of the reasons they threw him out of there, because he so disrespected. They were giving him asylum, and he was wiping his feces all over the walls inside the embassy.
Yeah, I heard that he wasn't getting any medical attention. He's been trying to get medical attention for quite some time, and he wasn't. And the judge that arraigned him today had some really nasty things to say about him.
Right. Well, the whole problem is you don't even know if any of it's true, other than the fact that the way he looked today, he did look like he's crazy. So I'm not sure they'll even be able to try him. He really looks like he's nuts. He's gone off the deep end.
Well, he's been in there for 7 years.
Right. Basically 7 years inside the same room, So, yeah, you're right. He's pretty... But, they said... Now, this is really hard to believe, but they said one of his visitors that used to come see him all the time was who? You didn't hear?
Hillary Clinton?
No, my God, who'd want that? Remember the girl from Baywatch, Pamela whatever?
Pamela Anderson?
That's not her name, Pamela Anderson, but it's Pamela something, that real hot babe there. She used to go see him all the time.
Yeah, that's her name, Pamela Anderson.
Oh, it is Anderson? Okay, well, supposedly Pamela Anderson used to be very good friends with him and go see him all the time.
That's probably why he looks 70.
Barbed wire.
Anyway, this whole world is so screwed up. It's just unbelievable. People are going crazy by they're going crazy by the square root. Look how stable I am compared to everybody else.
I was going to say, look how the people on the world famous Toad Harbor, how stable we are. We are like the poster child for normalcy anymore in the world. KB2ZVP.
WG2E.
N1 DVL.
KT2D.
Somebody say stable and normal.
We all have to have. We always have to have a mascot, Mark.
Yeah, we have to have somebody who's really that we have to help, that we have to like hold his hand and you know what I mean.
I thought that was you, Ray.
No. Randy, don't forget to bring a towel so we can sop up his drool.
I was working on the beverage again tonight.
You better watch out. You're going to go out and that Bigfoot's going to grab you and twist your head right off.
How did you make out, Mark?
I got it a little better.
Do you have a dog?
No, I don't have a dog.
You do or you don't?
I do not have a dog. Over.
Why not?
Well, I was going to say because at least when I went out at night, my faithful German Shepherd would come with me, and then I was safe. But if I went out at night now, I'd be a little bit nervous, but I'd certainly have a big gun with me.
Yeah, Ruger goes out with me at night.
Yeah, no kidding, at least.
Yeah, I take my 45 in case I have to shoot my way back to the house.
I used to take my 450 Marlin, but I put her away.
Thank God you didn't have to use that thing.
And how? The Bigfoot would have went down and I would have went down, and then whoever got up first would be the winner.
Hey, I'm going to get one of those stencils or those stencils there where you carve out a 4x8 piece of plywood and paint it black. And I'm going to get the one of the Bigfoot and I'm going to put it off in my woods where it just shows just a little bit from the road.
You don't know how hard Maureen and I laughed. We were up in the Adirondacks, and they had these Bigfoots around all over the place near the road. I said, Christ, I got to buy one of those things, sneak out behind Ray's house, and place it out in his woods, just so he could just about see it from his porch, you know. But my luck, he'd spot me out there at nighttime thinking that I was a Bigfoot, and he'd be taking out that freaking cannon of his and shooting me.
Yeah, get a nice piece of like 1-inch marine plywood and get your scroll saw and cut out that stencil really nice, and paint it flat black.
Did you guys ever see the show on TV where the cut officers, the environmental police are watching hunters?
Oh, with like the remote controlled deer?
Yeah, did you ever see that classic one with there's two what do you call it, police out there hiding out, and they put this deer off the road, and the tail wags and the ears move and everything, that thing costs like $3,000. And this guy comes by, this is down south somewhere, and this guy comes by with a pickup truck, and the guys are whispering, they're going, yeah, this guy's definitely going to take the bait. We can tell. We know the kind of guys these are. This is the kind of guy we're going to get. We're going to get this guy. And the guy looks at the deer, and he looks at the deer, and then finally he just slowly drives off up the road, and the other cop says to the other one, he goes, man, I would have bet my last dollar that he was going to shoot that deer. And all of a sudden this guy comes screaming down the road doing 60 miles an hour, goes off the road through a fence and runs the deer over with his truck.
What a maroon.
That's great.
It was the same guy?
Yeah, it was the same guy. Yeah, he went up the road, turned around, and came back and ran the deer over with the truck.
Oh, he must have got arrested.
Oh, my God, they screwed him. They got him. He had to pay for the deer and everything.
That's entrapment.
No, it's not. You can't run a deer over with a truck.
Especially out in the middle of a field or something.
Somebody's trying to trap you into doing something over with a truck.
I watch those shows. Those what do you call environmental officers? They're the biggest pains in the neck anyway. But they were out in California getting people with abalone. These Chinese guys or Japanese people go out and they get abalone, and they're worth a lot of money. I mean, I think one abalone is probably worth $200 or $300.
Who do I know that used to fish those or hunt those, or gather those? I guess gather them is the right word. I know somebody that does that for a living.
Yeah, well, there's huge money in it. I mean, you're only allowed to get so many. You get a license, and you're only allowed to get so many. But I mean, if you went out there at 3 or 4 in the morning, like with night vision underwater and everything, it just was grabbing, you could make yourself, you could make yourself 4,000 or 5,000, 6,000 a week. I don't even, what do you do with them? You eat them, right? They're some kind of delicacy?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Jewelry? Oh, is it jewelry? Do they have really pretty shells? I think they polish them.
Oh, I don't know. They look like a giant snail.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Randy, you are super loud on my beverage.
Who, me?
Isn't he cute?
Who's loud, me or Randy?
I said Randy.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
That was funny though, Ray.
Hang on, I gotta turn the power back up here. Click, 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 click. Hello. Oh, there we go. Okay. How's that? Is that any better?
Randy, you're consistently 15 dB louder than Ray almost every evening.
Well, that's how it should be, Mark. That's simply the way it should be, my friend.
Now, wait a second. Just wait 1 second here. I turned my effect on hard. How's that sounded?
Sounds like sounds like your effect's on hard, Ray.
It's hard as a rock, baby. Hard as a rock.
Both of you guys, Randy and Ray, are hitting 40 over peaks here right now.
Yeah, I keep on forgetting when we have the hello. Yeah, when we have these tests, I have to put my processor on hard.
It just sounds like a louder version of weak.
Hey Ray, don't forget, you don't have 2 spare tubes yet.
That's right. Well, I'm not running a real big power. I'm just running a lot of average power.
Just don't make me go on high voltage. That's all I can say.
Now you're averagely weak.
Okay, here goes. Effect 1, 2, 3 to soft. Effect back to soft.
Sounds better on soft.
You asshole.
Yeah, a little less D104 Silver Eagle Channel 19 soundish.
I agree, but on AM, boy, that thing gives you some punch when you put that on. Don't forget, this is the only ham radio in the world where the processor works on AM. This is quite the machine. I love this radio more every day.
Yeah, I don't know about the flexes though. Do the processors work on AM? Do those guys ever even use them? Yeah, they work on AM. Of course they do. Have you ever asked Bob if his Flex 5000 if he uses his processor?
No, but you know what? I got to ask the guys with the Anons if those processors work on AM.
You're almost up to an Anon with that radio. So your next step, you may have to get an Anon.
I think an Anon in the right hands with a guy that really understands computers is a hell of a radio. But the only problem with the Anon is they have very poor 100 kilohertz dynamic range. They probably wouldn't work here.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're probably the best, overall, one of those SDR type radios there are. But I've never owned one. I just go by what I hear and what I assume to be true. But I don't know.
You might as well turn your audio back down. You're only about 30 dB down. Your opposite sideband's going up 30 dB above the noise.
Oh, I turned on the wrong. I turned on the compression. I thought I was going after the drive gain. Sorry. I got to turn the light on in here when I'm on here when I'm cranking on the controls.
I sure miss having my Spectrum scope.
Yeah, you're going 40 dB up. 40 dB up from the baseline on the opposite sideband.
Yeah, well, I guess I was trying really hard. But Mark didn't see that down there.
And Mark doesn't see anything. He's got one of those no display.
Hey, wait, Carl, your radio has a display.
Well, the 746 sort of does, but you have to turn the scope on, and then you can't hear anything, and it just shows you where the stations are on the band.
Who's me? We can just about hear you. Couldn't hear you. Did anybody hear him?
That's N2PEQ.
It's JR down in the Capital District.
Oh, well, I can't hear him here.
Well, you're light here, JR. WG2E. Not by much.
Yeah, it's not going to cut it tonight, pal. You're like an S7, and the static is right around there, too. And whenever it comes up a little bit, it wipes you right out. This is a summertime band is a big amplifier and big antenna band. Oh, Pizzolo, what happened? Did he pass away? Oh, no kidding. I saw him at the last Hamfest I was at. Where was that? That was in Boston Spa, I think is where it was, where I saw him.
Yeah, I think he was 70.
Well, he's not very old.
Wow, I'm 70.
Yeah, but you're well cared for.
Well, I hope I last another 6 months anyway.
My dad's 72.
Keep drinking that cleansing tea and the sleepy time tea, Ray. You'll make it easy.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Maureen just laughed. He's drinking cleansing tea, and I said, yeah. She's just laughed, and she says, wait till it starts to cleanse.
It's not cleansing. It's I forgot what the name of it is. I don't know what the word is, but it's not cleansing.
It's detox tea.
Yeah.
Detox, that's it.
So it's
Detox
the same thing. You're going to get detoxed in a hurry.
Today.
You should weigh yourself tonight.
I'll lose about 30 pounds during the night.
You know how everybody says, that Ray, he's full of SHI, you know what? Well, they're not going to be able to say that tomorrow.
Who's a good baker? Because they sell like 10 different kinds of flour, and I don't know which one. I bought the cornmeal flour, but I'm not sure that. I don't think that's what I really need. I need to get. They have rice flour. They have corn flour. They have 12 different kinds of flour I've never heard. Which one's closest to real flour?
Ray, I can ask my daughter. She does a lot of that. She grinds her own, and she's really into all that natural and no chemicals and everything. So are you looking for stuff to make bread and just regular baked goods like wheat-based flour?
Yes. In other words, I'm using a King Arthur unbleached flour, and I want something that makes my food, which is going to be a pancake and we'll say bread. this is very similar to white flour, but whatever. Because like I said, there's rice flour, corn flour. There's literally eight different kinds of flour, but I don't know what they taste like.
Yeah, let me see if she's still up. I'm gonna guess she's gonna say unbleached and not enriched, but let me. If she's not up, I'll get with her tomorrow and ask her. She's pretty good, and some of the other guys may know more than me on that, but she's my consultant on natural foods.
Okay, but don't call her tonight. But in other words, I'm looking for the. What's that? Organic. I'm looking for in other words, a lot of these flours are organic. So what I'm looking for is an organic flour that's closest to the flour you'd use to make bread and pancakes.
That's
yeah, I get it.
I want to know the same thing because I read about all these different flours. Can you substitute one for the other? Like almond flour, yeah. Do you want to be gluten-free? Because there's all kinds of flours, and it depends on what you're trying to prepare. But that's I would love to. I bet you can get. I'm positive you can get a cookbook of or a book, or just go on the internet and look up different types of flour and uses for them.
Have any of you had gluten-free macaroni?
I have.
Okay, well, I bought some the other day, sort of by accident. I bought some, the organic macaroni. I have a box, and then I bought another box, but it was gluten-free organic. And when I cooked it, I didn't cook it right. I threw it in the pot before the water was warm. The water was only lukewarm, and I threw it in, and that's stupid, and I know better than that. But I boiled it and cooked it, and it had a kind of a mushy taste to it. Now, I don't know if it's because I just threw it into lukewarm water, and you're supposed to wait until the water is boiling. But when you had the gluten-free macaroni, did it taste different than the regular stuff?
I had it at my mom's. I had pasta there because she had to have a gluten-free diet for quite a long time. And it was actually pretty good. I didn't notice that much difference. Although it was a little softer. I think that, yeah, you killed it by putting it into soaking it essentially before you cooked it, But, yeah, you got to be careful not to overcook that, especially that stuff, because it kind of falls apart.
Now, can somebody give me the definition of gluten?
Isn't that the substance that kind of like holds the bread together?
I don't know. I know there's a lot of gluten-free stuff, but I don't know exactly what it does. Hey, by the way, that store you told me about the other day that sells the flour? I went down there today. I was down that way, so I just kind of went by. What a shady store. I wouldn't go in there unless I have backup.
Okay, gluten is the general name for the proteins found in wheat, rye, and barley, and triticale, whatever that is. A cross between wheat and rye. It helps foods maintain their shape, acting as the glue that holds the food together. So that's why they call it gluten. So it's the glue. It's a protein.
Hey, Ray?
Yeah.
If you get a chance, because I know you're a big book reader, look for a book either at your library or wherever you get your books from called Wheat Belly.
Wheat Belly?
Belly. Bravo, Echo, Lima, Lima, Yankee. Wheat Belly.
Wheat Belly. Okay.
That'll inform you and educate you about what happened to the wheat in the past 100 years, GMO, what they genetically did to it, what's wrong with it, and why you shouldn't eat it anymore. It's a good book. I read it. It's very informative.
So, is there any wheat worth eating? Is there any wheat that you can eat nowadays, or you have to grow it yourself and process it yourself?
Well, wait. I got one more question for Mark. Almost all the stuff I buy says non-GMO. Is that what you want? You don't want GMO, or you want GMO?
The problem is it's not necessarily just genetically modified. They have modified the wheat through crossbreeding and all kinds of other ways that are not genetically modifying the wheat, but they've changed the wheat from its original form like it used to be in the Nile in Egypt back in the days of the Roman soldiers when it was actually good, valuable, usable food that was the bread of life. They have crossbred it and manipulated its genes so much now to the point of where your body has no idea what it is, can't digest it properly, and it leads to an addiction to it, which also leads to all kinds of bowel disorders, which leads to diabetes and all kinds of other problems. It's the reason why people are getting fat even though they're working out, and just trust me, I could go on for an hour. Just get the book and read it, and you'll understand, and 3 or more.
Okay, but you didn't answer my one question. If I go in the store, should I buy non-GMO, or it doesn't matter?
Stop eating wheat.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the diet that I was on that I lost all the weight. That's the secret right there. No white bread, no cheese, no milk, no dairy, and no bread at all. Nothing. No pancakes, no nothing. And that's how you lose weight, right? Okay, anyway, it's time for Bonzo to go to bed. I need a big giant drink of water, and I think I'm going to hit the head on the way down. So I will see you guys later. N1 DBL.
Life without pancakes?
Tea on your way out, Ray. It'll do you wonders. And I'm going to head out to good night, guys. KT2D.
All right. I'm going to check out of here, too. I want to talk more about this tomorrow, though, Mark. If you can brush up on your wheat facts for tomorrow's conversation about wheat and wheat belly. Because I believe totally, I sincerely believe that I'm addicted to that. Because if I eat, I could be completely full, but I have this hunger for bread, some kind of bread or something of that substance, okay? I'll have to get up in the middle of the night sometimes and just get something like a piece of bread to eat, put a little bit of peanut butter on a piece of bread, then I can go back to sleep because I have a pain. I have an actual physical pain in my gut if I don't eat some kind of bread.
Now listen to me. If you go on that diet...
Am I crushing them like a bug?
After 2 or 3 days, you're never hungry. You can go without eating for 10, 12 hours at a clip, and you never have that hunger pang like you're talking about. That's the whole secret of that diet. Okay, anyway, N1DBL.
The answer, Randy, is yes. You're addicted to the wheat and the carbohydrate, which isn't a complete carbohydrate, and it's not a complete protein anymore. They've modified it too much, both with genetic modifying as well as crossbreeding, and they bred the wheat in such a way now that you can grow it almost at any kind. You could grow it on a desert, and it would still grow. It doesn't resemble wheat anymore. It resembles something that your body has no idea how to even deal with, and it's loaded with things like lectins and others to addicted to it, almost like cane sugar. And that's the feeling you get when you're addicted to it, which also means you're probably loaded with candida. So we'll talk more and at another time in 3 or more.
Well, what's candida? You can't tell me that then leave. I mean, what the hell?
Candida is yeast.
Yeast, okay. So how do you get rid of... Okay, Ray, what's that stuff you got, that cleanse? I need a lot of acidophilus, I understand.
Well, no, the Acidophilus bacillus will help, but the problem is that you're probably riddled and loaded with it because probably most of your life you ate a quote-unquote good diet of whole wheat and grains and breads and things of that nature, and you're probably all riddled and loaded up with candida, which leads to things like back pain, joint pain, problems with muscle spasms. You just get tired all the time. You wear out. You can't stand long. Is any number of list of things that it starts to mimic. The problem is when you get off the wheat and you start to detox and your candida starts to die, you got to change your whole diet. You got to do a detox, and you're going to feel like crap probably for 3 months.
I'm fine with that. I've been feeling like crap for 20 years, so pain. I mean, look at you just described my day, okay? Charlie horses like a mother. I'm talking putting on my boot, lift up my leg to tie my boot, Charlie horses. Sex, Charlie horses. Brushing my teeth, Charlie horses. Back pain, severe. I mean, major severe, like you can't breathe. So I need to get detoxed, and I don't care how I feel for 3 months. I'll be happy to get this crap. So, Mark, I'll pay you. No, I won't pay you because you wouldn't take my money. That wouldn't be the right thing to do, the Christian thing to do. But I need to talk to you about this more.
Yep. Yeah, I can tell you what to do to get off of it. It's basically very similar to what I had to do when I was having my problems with my pancreas. And because I found out that I'm actually allergic to the wheat. Not everybody's allergic to it, but you just shouldn't eat it. And sugar is the other big problem. Yeah, you're acidic and you're sweet and acidic, which means you're riddled with candida. That's why you're having the cravings, the hunger pangs after you've eaten, and then go for a little while and you get those cravings like you want to eat something that's carbohydrate-based. Your candida is starving because it eats the sugar out of your blood. Candida is the step that leads before cancer.
Well, let's just not feed candida bug and seriously, I have all those things that, and the thing is, I eat a ton. I mean, I'm talking a ton of fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. I love that more than anything, but if I eat that, I still have to have some kind of a carb.
Right, because your candida will start to die. And when it dies, it slowly poisons you, and then you get that sickening kind of empty feeling in your gut. That's all the poisons and the toxins your liver's trying to clean out and dump into your gut so that you can get cleaned out. You probably need to take an enema for about a month, every second day to third day, to clean your lower intestine out and get your intestines cleaned up. Stop eating wheat. Stick with the fruits and the vegetables. Go to a rice diet and high proteins, lots of nuts. Not cooked nuts, not roasted, raw nuts. Eggs are good, chicken's good, a lot of fish is good. Stay away from the heavy red meats for a while. And drink lots of water. Stay away from sugars as much as you can. And definitely stay away from corn syrup.
You might as well just kill yourself.
No. I know it sounds terrible and like you're going to starve to death, and you won't starve to death. But like I said, you will feel terrible for about 2 to 3 months until you get all of it cleaned up. You change your pH, you kill the candida, you get your colon cleaned up, you'll start to lose weight, your energy will come back, your sex drive will come back, the cramps will go away, you'll start to feel like normal again after about 3 months.
Well, Maureen's a little worried about more sex drive. The wheat, I can stop. That's hard for me. But the nuts, the eggs, the chicken, the fish, drink lots of water, stay away from corn syrup, and rice is good. So I like rice. I eat lots of nuts, and I eat some eggs, and I eat a lot of chicken. Not enough fish, probably. I do drink a lot of water. Every night on the net here, I drink 3 or 4 big glasses of water, have it for dinner. And throughout the day, I drink probably 4 or 5 or 6 glasses of water, so that's good. I eat a lot of fruit. I eat a lot of vegetables, and especially in the summertime, because we got the garden going, I just go out there and have dinner, you know. So, okay, I got it. Thank you. You probably saved my life.
Well, there's another thing you can do to really help you with the cramps. Magnesium and potassium, they always say, helps with cramps. Yes, temporarily. But there's a really good product called the company's name is called Maine Seacoast Vegetables. You can go right online. They have an entire product line that they basically take dulse and kelp, which is seaweed from the ocean. They have protected areas that they get it from, and they dry the leaves up, and you can buy it ground or you can buy it whole leaf. It's like nori. the stuff that you do with sushi, that green that you wrap around the sushi. So you can either rehydrate it or you can get it in flake form that you can just sprinkle on your salad, soup, food, chicken, whatever. It's got a salty flavor to it. It's delicious. And that's that is vitamins and minerals that are still in soluble ionic form that your cells can absorb, unlike the garbage that you buy at the store in big tab. You can't absorb that garbage that you buy at the store one a day and all that garbage. It's all garbage. Go with the Maine Seacoast vegetable product. I would suggest buying a bag of Dulse, flaked Dulse, maybe 1 or 2 bags. It's a little pricey, but that don't seem to be an issue for you. And have that shipped to you, and eat 1 tablespoon of that a day with your salad, your soup, or whatever you want to put it on. Put it on your fish or chicken, and your cramps will go away, and your energy will come up, and that'll help as well.
Okay, so it's a friend of mine, Ronnie Hinkle, actually a good friend of mine. He actually farms that vegetable. He sells to Maine Seacoast vegetable products. That's what he does. He goes out. He's a kelp fisherman or kelp harvester. But what was the Dult? What was the vegetable? They're the product to buy from them?
It's flaked Dulse. Basically they take the leaf and they grind it down to like a little tiny flakes, not powder, but just above powder. So you can sprinkle it, like you put it in a shaker, and you can actually sprinkle it on your food. You can't eat too much of it. It's extremely good for you, and it's got a wonderful flavor. Once you start taking some of that, you'll crave it. You'll want to eat more and more of it, but you don't need to eat a whole lot. 1 tablespoon a day throughout the day, or when I was a kid, I used to take the whole flake, whole leaf from my grandpa. He would buy it, and I would just chew on it like tobacco. I would just chew it. And that too will also help to straighten your pH out, get your mineral levels proper, and get your endocrine system, that's your gland system, and everything will start functioning properly. But until you get off the wheat, and until you kill the candida, you're going to continue to have the same problems you've been experiencing.
And it's called Dult, like D-A-U-L-T.
D-U-L-C-E, Dulse.
Do it phonetically, please.
Delta, Uniform, Lima, Echo, Sierra, Dulse.
Oh, Dulse. Okay, I'm looking up that company right now.
They also make kelp, whole leaf kelp and/or ground kelp. It's similar to Dulse. It's just a different sea vegetable. It's also excellent to use in soups, whole leaf. You can rehydrate it and do many things with it. They have an entire catalog and product line you can look at right online.
It's only $3, $3.29. Order this immediately, if not sooner, my dear. So right here, they got kelp, they got Dulse, and they've got kelp all sea seasoning. Excellent source of iodine, and that's only $4, $3.49. Oh, we're going to order it tonight, Mark.
You bet. You just start taking that and do what else I already told you. And like I said, you'll feel like crap before you start feeling good. And once you get through the crap phase and you start feeling good again, stay on that diet. Don't change it. You can cheat a little bit after that, but just stay away from the wheat and the carbohydrates.
No pastas, right?
Oh, pasta's the worst, because all of the pastas in this country is just all white durum. The worst part of the GMO genetically altered is in pasta. That's just riddled with lectins. Just stay away from pasta. Now, there's artichoke pasta, there's spinach pasta, but you got to be a little careful with that because it's also got regular wheat durum in with it to make it stick together. And you got to stay away from the wheat. They just screwed it up.
So, okay, back to the